search through my emails real quick.
I probably forgot, in which case I'll just send it to you afterwards. But the gist of it is that you all took a splendid boat ride over to an island to the northwest of where you were before. And you were brought along on the yacht of trying to think yacht, I guess. Anyway, but you were brought along as a guest of the current head of the Zargo family business, Amanda Zargo, the apparent aunt of Aiden Marston himself. She's been keeping him in hiding for whatever reason, and she was a bit worried that you all were there to cause harm or whatnot, but she is convinced that you are only there to take some object, and she perhaps believes that her nephew will be safer without it. Are there any questions? Just to describe it a bit, the ship upon which you have arrived in is gilded with gold in various places. It has a large eagle spread wings on the front, and it's got a variety of sails to keep it going. It also seems to be some sort of mechanized self-propelling device, which seems to be powered by some fire elementals in a chamber being flooded with water, which flash forms into steam, which is used to power a kind of propeller of some kind.
Right, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Some strange device that apparently is one of the new engines from Morningstar.
Yeah, I was going to say that sounds like something Morningstar would make.
And it is, in fact, a Morningstar trademarked product. And let's see. The guest or rather, the woman to whom you are guest is Amanda Zargo. Amanda Zargo is, an elegant dwarven woman, or excuse me, not dwarven, elven woman, and you all as a group surmise that she seems to have a thing going on where she wants to perhaps display the image of, or outwardly display the image of, or appear to be a goddess of commerce by the name of Joaquin.
Joaquin Phoenix?
Very nearly. And the goddess Joaquin is her symbol. She's all about gold and coin, and she's treacherous and selfish, etc., etc. But this woman dresses in a way and acts in a way that sort of invokes a lot of similarities. And you all had taken this ship for some time to the northwest, and you seem to have found yourself on an island that has a crude couple of buildings, or rather a crude shack, I should say, half built practically on the shore, and a rough, half finished canoe also seemingly being worked on as a hobby, perhaps. And this seems to be the current camping / home place of one Aiden Marston, but he's not home. So the big ship, there's no dock. It stayed offshore a bit. It did not bring any sort of smaller vessel to depart with. And she said that there's a rowboat that's here, and there's a stake that's here that is good for tying a rowboat to after it's been dragged down to the beach a little bit. But no Aiden Marsden. And the majority of the party, in fact, I believe all of the party at this point, has abandoned ship, jumped ashore, and is there now, aware that they are in a bright, sunny day with not a cloud in the sky. They just departed a literally gleaming giant ship, not giant, but fairly large yacht, and their prey, your prey, seems to not be here. But he certainly hasn't gone far. The fire is still, the fuel that is on it has not even fully caught. He couldn't have been gone for more than an hour. He's likely somewhere very close. He clearly took the rowboat. And that's roughly where you all are, in a situation where it's possible that he's somewhere around here.
I was already planning taking to the skies and scouting if like nobody stopped me. So
You did what now?
I turned into basically a giant eagle and was about to take to the skies if nobody stopped me to do a scouting.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would stop you. I thought you already did that.
Nope, I didn't get to take off yet. I just turned into an eagle and then I was gonna take off.
Lee gave you a thumbs up and winks at you, and just gives a little nod. Just like, go for it, buddy.
Fionn would say something because if he's here, we don't want to spook him.
And I understand. I mean, I can wait. I got an hour.
Yeah, I just don't like. I feel like we should like take more than a cursory glance before we send giant, because giant eagles aren't necessarily a common thing.
Yeah, from last time though, we did our investigations, perception, and everything like that, and you surmised from the fire and the scratch marks on the beach that he hadn't been here for like less than an hour ago.
Oh yeah, I just mean like a giant eagle in the sky is pretty visible, you know.
Yeah, maybe something less conspicuous.
Did he just turn into a flying?
Yep, and I can only do that once a day.
Yeah, that's what. Well, wait.
If I
I'm
go
assuming
high
it's
enough,
I'm assuming it's from an invocation.
yes.
Okay. Technically, Fionn already has his familiars spread out or something like that. What his goals?
Mhm.
Yeah. If you're worried about that being too conspicuous and we're really low, let's hold off on it. But I mean, what else? What exactly is the plan here other than that? Are we gonna sit and wait for him, or are we gonna, like covertly scouting out, or what's the plan?
I mean, yeah, covertly scouting out seems like a good idea.
Okay.
I do have one question. I don't know if it got covered. Does it seem like he left in a hurry, or?
It's tough to tell. Nothing seems to have been packed or really disturbed. There's no sign of a rush specifically. The fire wasn't really smothered. It just seems to be going on its natural way. The boat that was launched, the rowboat, you didn't really see it coming in. But yeah, it doesn't seem like there was a rush, but it's difficult to tell if there were a rush.
Sorry. Yeah, I guess it's up to you guys. I would suggest covertly because my whole thing is I don't want to spook him if he sees far off.
Agreed.
But what I'm asking is, what exactly is the plan for this?
My thought is that he'd probably have already seen us, because you can see probably pretty fucking far, especially with the big old beacon.
Well, yeah, but he's seen the ship that hit us.
Yeah, no, not us. He knows that it was his sister-in-laws or sisters.
Aunt.
Aunt. Thank you.
Yeah. If anything, the ship will act as something that will make it more convincing. If anything, it could act as cover for us.
Yeah. I'll change back, I guess.
Sorry to like. I just.
No, I mean, you bring up a fair point. I got to do something, so I got to jump the gun a little bit.
No, I feel you. I mean, other than because you guys already made checks and stuff last session, other than just wait it out, like I don't really know what else we could do.
Is there anything you would like to make a check for? I can give you whatever information you like.
I mean, oh, sorry. Go ahead, Luke.
You were. I shouldn't have been talking. I just wanted to remind you, both of you, that you sent out your familiars to go and check out the surroundings anyway. So if we're worried about sending somebody out to get information, you already have eyes in the sky.
Other than like stupidly specific ranger stuff, I don't really, which I don't think would come in handy because it's like how long ago they were here, which we already know. How many passed through? Because he's a humanoid, my favorite type of prey.
He seems to be alone.
Yeah. And something else that I don't really think would make a difference right now.
So what do y'all want to do?
I mean, it sounds like the plan is Fiona already has covert information gathering covered pretty much for the most part. It sounds like the best thing for us to do in this case is to make ourselves inconspicuous and wait for him to come back. I mean, does anybody have any? I mean, what does everybody think of that? Is that going to be okay?
Yeah, I think that's a good plan, a solid plan.
What'd you say?
Polly said sounds good to her.
Oh. Well, I was thinking, I don't know if we've ever done it before, or if we can, or thought of it, but scrying on him maybe? See what direction the sun's going in?
We have attempted to scry on him before. That is a good idea. Molly, can you do that?
I think I have tried to scry on him. I don't know if it's been 24 hours since then because I failed.
I do not believe you scryed today. I think that was last night.
Yeah, and I failed, so it takes 24 hours before I can try again.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Well,
I just thought...
hang on. The last time you scryed, wasn't it? I mean, it was before last night. Wasn't it the night before?
Yeah, it was the night before last because we spent
the
a
night
day
before last is when you spent the night outside at camp.
Yeah.
But last night you spent it at the town. I think it was over a day before that you tried to scry.
I mean, I'm good with that. I don't remember either way, so.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure we spent a day just doing the stuff that we did, the gathering food.
Yes. I got you guys to prepare 3 days worth of downtime activities and then immediately canceled it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Happy to waste your time. So, would you like to attempt to scry? You could.
Well, the only thing I'm worried about with that is if he's in the ocean, I don't think we're going to glean much from that.
Well, if my thought was if you can get to where the sun is, like we can figure out if he's heading east, north, or east or west at least.
Do we have an idea of direction based off of where he kind of like, I guess, left the island? I guess we wouldn't.
Not necessarily. I mean, because there's no tracks from the ocean. You just see that the boat went out.
If anybody could find tracks on the ocean, it would be Fiona.
Yeah, I think it was him that got the information for us too. Super high investigation he had.
Yeah, I need to look at specifics because everything that is about Ranger, like specifically tracking prey, is incredibly specific. So like,
Wonder what I got, if I got anything that could be useful.
Ormus, I kind of think it would be awesome if you could turn into like a shark or something underwater. I don't know specifically what for, but that just sounds awesome.
It would, but I gotta wait another day now.
I mean, All right.
Once a day trick, buddy.
Got you. I got you.
We're still on the water, hell yeah. But
Is Lee's Murgoat with us?
Yes, the Capricorn is with us. It's not like on shore; it's in the water. But
Well, yeah, it's a Murgoat. You want to send him off to keep an eye out for ships while I scry?
um, yeah, well, actually, I'd rather keep him kind of near the island, but maybe just like have him hang out near the boat.
Okay.
I'm not really sure where I would send him specifically. Is the problem?
Yeah, so should I be surprised?
Yeah.
Okay. D- Yonder, can you describe his house? Like, does he have a bedroom that I can go into for some privacy for this?
It's not really so much a room. It's just, I mean, this is very much akin to just a very simple hut, and it even seems unfinished. It's one room. There's nothing really. There's not even a bed. So in terms of privacy, I mean, maybe, but
Alright, then I guess I'll drop my wild shape and do it here.
all right. So casting your scry.
There wasn't like a hut.
Yeah, like I said, there's a building.
Oh, okay. Do you go in there?
Oh, yeah, I'm already in there.
Oh, okay. I'll guard the door. So Amanda and her guard don't come in. I don't know if we've gotten his name, but I do not remember it.
They are still on the ship, like 500 feet off the shore.
Okay, so they're not going to see Molly turn back into a gnome.
Not unless they're looking very closely.
I mean, I can do a
I'll
minor
guard-
illusion if you guys want.
Yeah, sure. I'll guard the
Actually.
door. We have to guard her secret.
Scratch that. It's gonna be a major image.
All right. Are you sure you want to use a spell?
Yeah, I don't think that's really necessary. I'm in the house.
Yeah, I don't want. I honestly feel like maybe holding on to your spells for now because this is pretty minor.
It's okay. I got Eldritch Blast in case something attacks us.
That's true. All right. I mean,
Well, I mean, they can hold up.
Necessary.
No, all right. It might throw them off too and concern them.
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and do a group scrying.
Okay. So with this scrying, you don't have direct knowledge of this person. You never met him.
Correct.
She
We
could
are in a
use
place-
something of his.
yeah, exactly. We are in a place where he has stuff here. We could like take some of the stuff that he owns because we're at his house.
That's true. I could acquire possession or garment of his.
You absolutely could. So you want to grab on something that gives you a little bit of a boost.
Heck yeah.
Lee hands her a sock.
In fact, if you want, you know that a possession or garment makes it a little bit easier. But if you could find a body part or something biological,
It's a jar of his toenail clippings. That's so weird.
Convenient.
yeah, it might need a little bit more effort than that to find that.
I mean,
Can I
But
make
he didn't say it's not there.
Let's see if I can find his jar of toenail clippings.
Go ahead and make an investigation check, or maybe a perception check.
well, I was gonna say, would it be possible that this might be a stretch, but I think it makes sense. Usually, when you're tracking something, you can, and I apologize for the nature of this statement. You can track it by its droppings. Maybe when Fionn was looking around, he found droppings.
I would consider that closer to a possession than a body part.
Okay,
Yeah, I
so
guess that does make sense.
sweaty clothes then.
I feel like that's
Wouldn't
a
count.
little bit of a lesser thing to find with humans than it is for animals. Since you specialize in humans, I feel like you finding big piles of poop on the road is probably less likely and less useful.
It does reveal a lot of information to find that much poop on the road, though.
True.
And wood.
While all
Mine
this
would-
would help in physical tracking, it does not do much for scrying.
My investigation was a 16. I'm looking around the hut.
Sweaty
Okay.
clothes wouldn't count, would it? Like sweat stained?
They would count as a possession.
Okay.
With a 16, you do not find anything beyond the mere possessions that surround the room.
Oh, really gross socks. All right, here's have this wet sock. It's kind of crusty.
What about hair?
Hair would be good if he has a brush around.
Or maybe a couple fell out while he was sleeping or something.
Yeah, we could check his comb his blanket for hair.
That would be extremely helpful.
I'll remind you at this point, canonically, I have mentioned twice, he has no bed. He is an elf, after all.
Does he have a comb lying around anywhere?
Coat?
Comb, brush, hairbrush.
Nothing that's turned up with the current searches so far.
Hmm.
Would anyone else like to look?
So I don't know.
We can look inside of the netting that he's got.
With the various foodstuffs.
Maybe something fell in those. Or maybe
course
it's
it's-
even made out of his hair. Who
Of course,
knows?
it's just as likely as well that if it's in a packaged foodstuff, that it's likely not his.
Well, no, I'm just thinking maybe he put some food in there, snag it on his hair, pull it out, or spelling,
Guys,
grasping at straws.
I think I'm good with just a possession of his. I think that'll hopefully do it.
Right?
Okay. If no
Use
one
the
else wants to look,
I mean, I already did. I just couldn't find anything.
I know, but okay, that's fine. All right.
My investigation's not that great, so just
Sorry.
getting ideas.
I stepped out to the restroom. Hold on. I might get advantage on finding.
I was about to say, it's like if only we had someone here who was really good at tracking and finding things of humanoids. It's like this is Fion's whole thing.
Well, to be fair, he did step
Can
up.
after I fail, can I then attempt to help Fiona? Or is me also helping Fiona?
It's one of those things where sometimes in this sort of delicate work of trying to find, you're essentially looking for forensics in a hut. Help might actually do more than might also hurt. In this sort of an instance, because it's a difficult task, if you want to aid him, if you succeed at the check, then I'll let you aid him. But if you fail on the check, you'll make it worse.
Can I just give guidance?
Sorry? Do what?
Can I give guidance?
Of course.
And I will attempt to help. Should I use the roll I made earlier, the 16, or should I make another one?
Well, I'll add too that since Fion's got all kinds of buffs and things, you can't give him additional advantage.
He probably already has advantage, so I probably
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
back. Do you have advantage?
Yeah, I already do. Does guidance
Okay.
give a D4 or?
Yes.
So that would be, excuse me, dirty 20.
With a dirty 20, that's including the D4?
Yes.
All right. Well, it's still good enough. You just find some strands of hair. It should be hopefully enough. You could see it discarded in areas, essentially cast off from clothing, snagged on something and then moved aside. But you're pretty sure that this hair is probably his.
Okay, I'll cast a group scrying using that.
All right. So he now has a -10 to his save instead of a +1.
And the DC is 15.
So he's gonna roll a 25. It is physically impossible for him to succeed on this check. So you will automatically succeed.
Woohoo!
Okay, what do I see?
I'm just curious though. I'm gonna roll. If he had a +1 before, yeah, he would have succeeded. So good on the search. You see a handsome elvish man in knee-deep water in the shade beside a cliff. And he seems to be standing on some rocks. There's waves going over. And he seems to be casually casting a net out into the water and reeling it in. And then bundling up again. Casting it out again. Anyway, that's what you see.
My understanding was Elven Men.
See the sun.
You do not see the sun. He is sitting in shade. But that can still tell you something. Direction of the cliff and the shade leads you to believe that he is someplace where there is a cliff to his east. So he's on the west of some land, on a western coast of something.
Good.
And you all are on the eastern coast of something.
All right, boys, let's take a trek around the island.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there any way to tell from the scrying if it appears possible that it's the same island? Just because
Investigation check.
that one's 15.
All right.
Survival work? For tracking?
Mhm.
Would a survival work for like tracking or something? Probably not.
Well, because it's not tracking, you're trying to locate. This is, you're looking at something and you're trying to match the details within it. It's more intelligence as opposed to survival, which is more like some of the active things.
I rolled a 6, so I don't get anything.
All right. What'd you roll, Vion?
I rolled a 16.
Okay.
And by the way, I only asked because it seemed that there might have been a boat that I figured.
There was a boat. You saw the boat. Like you saw the ruts of a boat. You saw where a boat would be tied down, and the aunt told you that there was a boat. But the boat is not here. Although you do, in fact, because you can move the ball. You can essentially, it's a sensor within 10 feet of the target. I don't think it's fixed on the target. The sensor moves with the target, remaining 10 feet for the duration. So I imagine that you could probably, by rotating the bowl or some other way, you can probably kind of circumnavigate the sensor around the target to look 360 degrees, I would think, right?
Makes sense to me.
It makes sense to me. So, with that, you can, in fact, see that the boat is seemingly anchored somewhat behind him in the shores. But you can tell, because as I mentioned, is that the island when you arrived, and you weren't here for this, Vion, but still, this island when you arrived is different from the other islands that you have been to so far. The other islands are luxurious, or not so much luxurious, but just a typical, stereotypical, beautiful kind of island with sandy beaches and clear blue water, and this is like tropical paradise kind of islands that you've been to before. This one is oddly different. It's stone. It's a lot of rock and pebbles and rubble. There's no sand on this beach. It's all rocky, and you see behind your prey a rocky beach, identical in many ways to the beach that you were on. It's likely that he is either on this island or an island like it.
let's go.
I thought this island was like super, super small.
It is. It's about a half a mile in
Okay,
diameter.
I was thinking like something way smaller.
Well, compared to a lot of the other islands that are several miles wide,
Yeah.
this is, maybe at most half a mile, probably less than a half a mile. Half a mile in its largest size. And it's rocky as well. It juts up high into the air, and there are cliffs in different places. And it's sparsely wooded, doesn't even seem to have too many plants in some areas. It's very stony.
So are you guys going to cross the island to get to him?
Honestly, I don't see. Seems like he didn't leave in a hurry, so he didn't leave because he saw us. And like the main thing that, and correct, like if you guys feel different about it, the main thing that's telling me is that like the wood in his fire had barely even caught. It feels like he's gonna come back and.
Yeah, I'm honestly just going to wait around.
Well,
Yeah. He certainly doesn't seem to be any sort of rush, or that there's any sort of suspicion, or even to give any sign that he has any awareness whatsoever that you all are here. He's just casting out the net, and he caught a fish, reels it in, put the fish in a bag, and bunches it up, casts it out again. He seems very casual.
All right. Should we make ourselves comfortable here, or should we make ourselves comfortable on the boat to wait for him?
I think we should go on the boat, make ourselves comfortable, tell his aunt what's going on, where we found him. Maybe she may even bring us to him, or he may see her and, let his guard down.
That's what I'm thinking. Is if we get on the boat, he'll come back, and we can like walk for him to come back with relative cover because of the big shiny boat. Like he'll just see some people on his aunt's boat.
Also, I feel like it would be rude for us to wait for him in his own home.
Yeah, me too. That's what I was thinking. Is it would really freak him out.
You say while pushing aside some of his clothing.
And setting aside the hair that I use for scrying.
Put that in your belt or something. We might need it later.
I thought that stuff got consumed upon using the spell.
It does not.
Cool. I mean, other than possessions, but something biological.
It does
I'll
not.
let somebody else hold on to it. Maybe Fion.
Yeah, he's probably into that.
Fion opens a small leather pouch that hasn't been yet that just has the word parts sewed into it.
It's not a bad idea to form a catalog of samples from various allies and possible enemies.
I would not be surprised if Fion just had like glass vials that he kept stuff in. I mean, I think he had glass vials early on.
Yeah, like Fion opens his bag to put that bag away, and you just see one with every party member's name written on a piece of paper tied to it.
Well, he pulls it out and he takes it with tweezers, puts it in a vial, pulls out a glass scribe and puts Aiden Marsden, and then he tries to find space because the bag's somewhat full. Just I'll put it here. Good enough.
I do have a fair amount of assorted parts on my character sheet, so.
I mean, if you took anything from me, I think I would have known, but I would have willingly given it anyway, so.
No, I mean, I was just joking about that, but if we do decide to make a catalog of parts, I will keep it. I do have various assortments already.
Gotcha. Alright, so what do you guys want to do? What's the plan of action?
Go out to the boat and wait for him to come back, I believe.
Yeah, deck chair. I pile on my jet ski.
Alright. Swimming ashore. Or rather, swimming offshore, rather. Do you want to do anything before you leave, or just going straight to shore? Or straight to the ship, excuse me.
I will be turning back into a panther.
Gotcha.
is it possible to make it look like we haven't been there as much?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is take a look around and make sure it doesn't look like we've disturbed his stuff.
Indeed. Perhaps something like a survival check to try and cover up your tracks,
There's the survival.
or a stealth might be able to help some of it.
Well,
Tries to help, but you should probably stop him.
yeah, I was gonna say like if Fionn rolls a survival for it, that's a 25.
A 25 will help. You'll be able to look through the room, be like, okay, this was here, this was there. All right, put that there, and then try to kind of even out the sand a little bit. Or not the sand, but luckily it is rocky, so you don't see a lot. You make sure everything's fine here, that the rut from the boat's fine.
Excellent.
There's not a lot of disturbances. All right, looks pretty close to how you arrived. It should be pretty tough for anyone to determine that much less a group of people were here. No droppings in the road, so to speak. Mollymort?
Especially just passively.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, someone could identify, in theory, if they knew the hair was there, that the hair was now gone, but it's not very likely.
It's shed hair. I'm not super worried about it.
Yeah,
What color hair was his?
Well, let's go with a sort of dark color hair, if I recall correctly.
Damn. All right, never mind. I was just gonna take one of mine and put it there.
No,
Like, there.
what?
You'll never know.
You were saying, Lee?
I just said I thought he had black hair for some reason.
Yeah, black hair.
Oh.
Yeah, dark.
Yeah.
I
Oh.
consider black to be dark.
Yeah, I know. I was just gonna say earlier when you described him as a handsome elven man, my thought was that seems redundant.
Just fair.
Also, side note: this has nothing to do with anything, but like, elves are so commonly shown in media as blonde that I'm only now realizing that when handsome elven man was said, I imagined him as blonde.
Same. That's why I asked.
They're not all blondes. Anyway, with a little bit of swimming, not too much, but you soon are able to climb up the side of the ship. And from above, you can hear Max asking, "Yeah, is he there? Did he run? You think he ran?" As he's kind of giving you all hands up.
Oh no, he's just not there right now. It didn't look like it. So we wanted to wait for him.
You're gonna wait here for him?
I mean, if we can, yeah. It
There's
seemed
an ambush then, huh?
well. It seemed rude to wait in his house.
I would consider an ambush to be in his house.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, we're just trying not to freak him out as much as possible, and waiting on the boat seems a little more
Less.
like a better option here.
Max nods. He says, I didn't take him for a threatening guy. We shouldn't have any trouble.
I mean, yeah, I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't think he would try to hurt any of us, but I also think he's a little flighty, and we do need to talk to him. So if we scare him, he might run off.
He nods.
And it'd probably be best to see his aunt's boat first, and be a little less off guard, so to speak.
Mom's going to shake off and start, getting comfortable to try to take a short rest.
All right.
Same, because I want that spell slot back.
All right. You can bask in sun, and
Nice.
Maximilian goes and informs Amanda of the potential situation, and there's some discussion, relatively privately, between the two as they presumably talk over what you all may intend to do.
Quick question: are they openly discussing but whispering, or did they like go to the captain's quarters or whatever?
They're on deck. She seems to be sunbathing, basically. Although oddly enough, like she's still in the cape and she's just basking. But they're discussing quietly and they're speaking in Elvish.
Oh,
Heck, I don't know that.
So
I do.
everybody except for Molly understands her, or understands her.
oh,
If you want to try and listen in, you can certainly roll a perception check to try and do so. They are whispering,
Yeah, I want to.
I want in on that.
If somebody nearby us is whispering, and we're in this situation, I don't know. It feels like there might be some misunderstandings, and Fionn just doesn't,
We will go stand on the other side of the ship, so this ambient noise doesn't interfere with their perception check.
Okay. Those that are attempting to eavesdrop, if you would please roll perception checks.
Plus,
For me, that's a
24.
21. Okay, he did better than I did.
All right. Well, both of you can hear and through translation understand that Max is, essentially going, so Mrs. Argo, they are going to stay on the boat. I think they hope that Marsden comes to the ship and they can surprise him. But you might need to talk with your nephew to try to convince him to surrender. And she's like, well, I mean, I can try to reason with him. He's always been as stubborn as his father. And Max is nodding along. She says, but I don't want him hurt. Just whatever you think is best, I'll do it, as long as it doesn't get him hurt. Whatever it takes. You understand, Max? And Max nods. Yes, ma'am. And then they split apart.
cool. Okay, I'll for anybody who wants to know, I'll kind of on the download tell you.
I
Off
appreciate
the
that.
ship.
Molly, would you understand me as an animal right now?
Yeah,
Okay, she does. Okay, I wasn't 110% sure on that.
she just can't speak.
Yeah, okay. Because I know that we had discussion about Fionn being able to talk to her, or Fionn being able to talk to animals, understand them, but he can't understand what they're saying and all that. So
Well,
that's-
I think it's a thing.
complications.
Yeah, it's like if a druid turns into an animal,
Yeah,
they still speak the languages that they speak so they can understand it, but they don't
Yeah.
physically speak it.
as
Cool.
opposed to
Panther.
polymorphs. You're saying polymorph?
I got panther vocal cords.
Yes. As opposed to in some situations with a polymorph where they might not understand.
Yeah, I
But
would only
wild
get
shapes
the
are a little
languages
different.
that. Okay, cool. Now I know. Thank you. Yeah, no, I'll tell everybody. Just kind of on the down low.
All right,
You want to whisper? We'll whisper too.
Ormus just walks around and whispers to everybody.
So
Okay.
do you all want to keep watch or
Lee's just kind of hanging out on the prow of the ship.
Real quick question: is there a crow's nest by any chance?
no, there's not.
Damn.
I think Fionn would want to try and subtly take watch, because after that conversation, he doesn't want to make it seem like an actual ambush, because I feel like they think that violence is going to be involved, and that's not our intention.
Mm-hmm. All right. So if you're keeping watch, maybe make a perception check, just relying on all those skills. And where are you keeping
17?
watch from? Okay,
Uh,
17. like which direction you're. To describe it, you're on the sort of the eastern edge of this island, and the bow is facing roughly due north, and you're some distance from the shore. So which direction do you want to try and focus your looking? You can do all of it, but of course you're less likely to see everything if you're walking around in circles, because there's not really anywhere on the ship that you can see everything too well, because there's the cabin in the middle and everything.
Probably actually like kind of northwesternly, not directly on the on his campsite, but keep it in my periphery.
Okay, yeah, his campsite is directly west of the ship.
Yeah.
And you guys are kind of facing north. So, alright, you kind of keep an eye on northwest. Would anyone else like to be keeping watch?
I can do north or southwest if nobody wants to get it.
Alright, would you roll a perception check, please?
Uh, 21.
Indeed. Alright, after about an hour to an hour and a half, assuming you all are sort of kind of still at your various stations.
Yeah, Lee's just kind of hanging out on deck, maybe playing with Molly or something.
After a short rest, yeah, I might have taken up watch too, actually.
Still as a cat?
Yes.
Okay, which direction would you like to face?
I'll keep watch with Beyond.
Okay.
He's the only one not keeping watch, and he doesn't get what everybody else is doing, which is ironic because he's a guard.
Would I still be able to incorporate a short resting with this, or does that take up?
Yeah, you can do that. You're not really. I mean, the short rest doesn't take too much time, and it doesn't take all of it. But really, you're just kind of sitting there or standing there for a lot of it. That's not tremendous or extreme.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I'm of the opinion that you can take a short rest while keeping watch, but you can't take a long rest while taking watch.
Okay, understandable.
That's fair.
Because sleep and meditation require, etc.
Well, my perception is 21.
Okay. Aladrin is just circling the ship, and Mark and Jacob are covering the sort of southeast. They're not likely to see anything, but they're sort of covering the east and the southeast. But I think it's mostly just because they just want to kind of stay out of the way a little bit. And Adira is following Aladrin. But after about an hour to an hour and a half, Oramus, you spot a rowboat coming around the south, basically from the southwest. You see it coming around the edge of the island.
Okay, I'll kind of walk up to Theon and Molly and just kind of like nod my head that way.
I'll go have a look.
It is indeed a sailboat, or not a sailboat, a rowboat being propelled by one humanoid individual through the water along the shore.
Do any of us have a spyglass?
I do if I drop my wild shape.
Oh, okay. I mean, like, you could leave, like, your pack or something. I don't know.
I did do a short rest, which refreshes my wild shape, so I wouldn't be opposed to doing that.
But you would lose your deception.
I mean, you could just say that you didn't transform your pack with your spyglass and stuff in it.
Yeah,
and one
but
of us is carrying it.
she definitely did, though.
You did? Okay.
I mean, she transformed like an hour and a half ago.
But, like, she's been in it all day. She might not necessarily have turned her bag into Panther as well.
It's okay. I'll just drop wild shape. I'll just try to skirt the Zargo and Maximilian their notice.
Mm-hmm.
Stealth? Is that if you drop your I don't know what that would be. I
You mean-
literally can't even
To
imagine.
drop wild shape? She can just do it at will. It's like a bonus action, right?
So, like, prevent them from, like, noticing.
Well, I don't think it creates any loud noises or flashing lights or anything.
Yeah, and if she's busy sunbathing and stuff, they're not particularly alert.
Just have to be out of view.
Oh, okay.
That's not a problem. All right. So you revert, get out the spyglass. Do you want to just leave your whole bag or just the spyglass?
I mean, I'm not turning back into my wild shape. I'm gonna stay a gnome for the moment.
Oh, okay. So what would you like to do?
I'll pass around the spyglass.
Okay. You see a rowboat propelled by one humanoid individual coming around the edge of the island to the southwest. You see it in slightly better detail now and slightly more magnified. But other than that, it still appears to be the same thing. He seems to be rowing along the shore, relatively slow.
Do you think we should tell his aunt that we spotted him?
Probably. Just keep her updated.
Lee is literally over where both of them are. Like, if Amanda is, like, sunbathing and her guard is nearby, Lee is just, like, sitting on the deck in front of them, like, stacking hammers or something.
Okay.
He has no idea any of this is going on.
Theon would probably just walk over and be like, "Hey, he spotted. Wanted to keep you up to date."
You spotted him? He's coming?
Well, he's coming around the side of the island. I guess we'll
She
wait.
gets up and, she just starts heading that way.
All right, I get up and follow.
If you all want to hide, I might be able to get him on board, if that'll help.
You think we need to hide to get him on board?
Well, if he's running from you.
That's okay. That's fair. I'm sure. I was kind of hoping that we would be able to do this without looking him, but I guess that's a good point.
Well, he's running from something. I assume he's running from you and people like you. And you gave me your word that he would not come to harm.
Of course. Yeah, we don't want to harm him. We just also, I didn't want to deceive him. But if getting him on board is the most peaceful option, then I'll hide.
If you have a better suggestion, I'll listen to it.
Well,
I just kind of feel like we should just be more as open as possible. All of a sudden, us coming out of hiding after you talk to him might give him the wrong impression.
I think he would feel betrayed, and I think he would feel less betrayed if you tried to introduce us as, I don't know, man, I don't know. I think you have a point. I think maybe you should be able to talk to him first, so maybe we should go under.
Yes, I don't care if he feels betrayed. I care if he's safe.
Yeah, guys, let's head to the underdeck and wait.
He'll forgive me. He'll understand. You all seem far more responsible with the items that you have. It'll be much better for him. He can go home.
I'm
Be a
just
nice
gonna
girl.
avoid eye contact at that one.
Anyway, let's go under.
Well,
so
you said more responsible with the items you have. I'm just like,
You want to try and hide in the cabin, or?
Sure.
All right, that would be very easy. You just go into the cabin, but otherwise you'd have to make various stealth checks to try and hide on the deck of this ship.
we'd probably get advantage because it's very glaring.
At the very least, Lee is going to go into the cabin if, like, Fiona or Ormus or something want to hide on deck and listen. I wouldn't be opposed to that.
And of course, Lee is the only one that he knows, so it's possible that the others could stay out.
Yeah, and just call me out when the time is. He's also the only one that has an abysmal self and would stand out like a beacon.
Mm-hmm.
Want to be
So, would anyone like to hide? Who would like to stay out? What's the thoughts here? What's the plan?
I'll
Else.
hide because I don't trust hiding in. Hide in the cabin.
you want to be the here, of course.
Yeah, but well, I mean, like, I'm also like 8 feet tall and blue, so
Yeah, but you have a good stealth. Like you're good at hiding.
Under
I can
the
just make me
cover of
invisible if you
noon.
want.
That's fair. Okay.
I'm gonna turn back into a panther and hide.
Gotcha. Okay. So, Ormus, do you hide?
I'll just go invisible.
Okay.
I got my
Ollie
spells
and
back.
Ormus
I'm not too worried
back.
about it.
Mark and Jacob and Adira and Aladrin all get into the cabin. You can see Mark to check to make sure his finger guns are loaded. And he seems pretty. He's jacked. He's ready for action.
Who all is on deck?
So, when you say on deck, you mean like everyone that's on the ship, or do you mean the people that are just not in the cabin?
Yeah, people who are not in the cabin. It's just Molly Ormus.
Well, I don't know where Mollymort went. Ormus is invisible outside of the cabin, but Max is out there, and so is Amanda.
Yeah, I'm hiding.
Madame Zargo. Excuse me. All right, you're hiding as well. As a panther?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll give you the advantage. You're small, there's gleaming. You can hide behind something pretty easily.
And the rest of us are in the cabin, correct?
Presumably, yes.
Okay.
Like a powder keg.
I'll just stay by the door if they come to get their attention, and I could just knock on it for them.
Okay.
We'll be listening for the light knock or whatever, I guess.
Ormus and Mollymort, if you so choose, you could be looking in the direction of the rowing boat as it gets closer and closer, still following along the shore, going along. Because of the nature of rowboats, one tends to go backwards while rowing. It's entirely possible that he hasn't seen you guys yet, as he gets closer and closer still. And beside you, you can hear the shout out as Madame Zargo says, Aiden! Aiden, dear! Yelling and waving a gleaming handkerchief that is certainly made of some kind of golden foil. It's just such brilliant, bright light.
Oh crap!
Weld on the reflection.
I just realized something.
What's that?
I need to make sure Mark unloads his finger guns because I explained to him that we're not prepared for a fight here. We're not gonna fight him.
Oh my god.
I make him unload his finger guns while I watch.
He says, do you know how you get peas?
How you get what?
Peas.
How do you get bees?
With a knife. And he winks. Twice.
I'm like, you know what? Fair point, buddy. He does not know what that means.
That's fine. It's a joke for me. No one else needs to know. It's how do you get peace? You prepare for war.
Oh, peace. I thought you said peas.
I did say peas.
Oh,
Never
okay.
mind. I'm not going to explain it. I'll explain it
I
later
got
if
it now.
anyone
I
really
got it
wants.
now.
It's an old. It's a Simpsons joke where. Anyway, some people find it. Okay, never mind. I'm not going to explain it. It's not very funny. The point is,
It's
Mark.
great. I love it.
Mark is like, how do you get peas? With a knife. And then he winked twice. It doesn't have to make sense. It's Mark. Anyway. You can see it, the figure in the rowing boat, having been shouted out and accosted by his possibly beloved, possibly estranged, certainly eccentric aunt. He does look and returns the wave, and you can see him begin to churn the rowboat and start heading towards the larger, much, much shinier boat. And as it gets closer, you can just hear above the subtle waves of crashing against the rocks further out and the occasional splash of an oar. You can hear a sort of tune, again in Elvish, that perhaps Ormus would recognize as a bit of an Elvish sea shanty about, well, it involves mermaids and it's not polite. But anyway, the rowboat pulls along and Maximilian throws down a rope ladder. But you wonder why he didn't throw down the rope ladder before. You guys had to climb up an anchor rope, but whatever. And Amanda Zargo leans over and says, "Dear, please come on board. I would love it if we could have lunch and have a chat." And Aiden silently climbs the ladder and is soon on deck. And do you all want to spring to action? Is there any knocking, or do you want to just see how it goes for right now?
Lee is
I was gonna
standing
see how
by the
it goes.
door waiting for Ormus to knock, but I think the understanding would be is that let her explain first, and
Yep,
then when it's been properly explained and the time comes, a few of us come out. All of us don't need to come out, because I think that'll be even freakier to him, because there's like 13 of us or some shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot.
I want this to be
See,
an
I-
ambush.
Yeah, I was thinking that if upon hearing her say, "Let me go get the people who want to talk to you," or something like that, and that's knock knock,
Yeah,
something
it's
along
an
that.
intervention, not an ambush.
Yeah.
So there's just the daintiest, most unwarm hug that you could possibly imagine, mostly on her part, and a little bit on his, where it's just like, okay, this is a matter of procedure. Hands go around, 1, 2 count, and let go. There doesn't seem to be a lot of closeness there, but you don't know if it's just a personality thing or anyway. But they have a bit of a hug, and he says, "To what do I owe this surprise?" And she says, "Well, I had some interesting people come by and talk with me, and they told me some things, and I wanted to have a conversation with you about it." And Ormus, you can see the suspicion raised in his eyes as they narrow. Who were these people? And she says, "Well, they were very nice people that they care about you." And you can see him basically get tense up a little bit and says, "You didn't tell them I was here, right? You didn't tell them anything?" And she says, "Well, I did not tell them. Well, it's..." And her eyes glance over to the stay room. And she says, "But it's... they just want to talk. We just need to talk. We want what's best for you, Aiden. It's very important. Do you even know what you have?" And Aiden, picking up on the eye movement, begins to back up towards the edge of the ship.
Molly Mord's gonna take that as a sign that, confront him before he darts and slowly come out, head down, being as non-threatening as she can be.
That's a panther.
That's probably gonna spook him, but
Well, any of us will at this point.
Maybe turn into a gnome and come out?
Yeah, that's probably a better idea. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that.
You're the least threatening party member, though they will have no idea who you are.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop Wild Shape and come out.
Or knock.
So in your full gnomish form, you appear. Do you say anything, or you just walk out?
First of all, I am gonna still try to present myself as non-threatening as possible in posture and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say, "Hi, Aiden. Don't... I swear we're nice." And yeah, she's gonna give like a little stomp on the floor to.
Does Ormus knock?
Yeah, I'll knock.
Okay. Lee will open the door and come out with, I guess, Fiona and Aldrin if they want to come out.
Yeah.
Well, as Mollymort presents herself, Amanda whispers to Max, "Who's that?" But as the knock is delivered, Jacob and Mark enact Breach Plan Alpha and burst out with everyone else.
Dean, I've been guarding the door. How are they going to get past me?
Well, you said you were leaving. They're going out with you.
Oh.
They're going out as quick as they can behind you.
I mean, like, I thought we, like, told them... Okay, never mind. This is fine, I guess.
I mean, that's just what they're doing.
Alright, we're all out then.
Very quickly, everyone arrives much in the way that the Inquisition of España is not expected to arrive. And boom, they're there. And the wide... Hey, come on, I gotta slip in a couple of these jokes. It's a D&D game. If I'm not making Monty Python references, and it's not real, it's not official.
Oh, yeah.
That's fine.
I just feel like if we saw them rushing, that we would at least be like, hey, what the fuck, man?
They're just rushing out. They're still standing with you. They're just bursting out. That's all.
I think once we come out, Lee will kind of put his hand up, you know, kind of like as a stop sort of sign. You know, we just stand there in front, and Lee would look at Aiden.
He gives out a quick, "You!"
Why are you mad at me? I didn't do anything to you. Also, hi. I know it's been a while. Hey, look, I'm not mad over the boat thing. I understand.
You can see him putting himself between you all and Amanda.
We're not gonna hurt anybody. Look, we really are just here to talk. Like, we went through all the trouble to find you so that we could talk.
They're just
If
here
we
to
wanted to
help
ambush
you, Aiden.
Yeah. Well, we're not here to hurt you. What we really need is the net, and we desperately need the net.
I'm not giving it to you. I told you I'm not giving it to anyone. It is safer with me.
Can we at least talk about it? Look, we legitimately just want to talk about it. Because, like, I think if you understood our reason, you would understand why we need it and how we need it.
She puts her hand on his kind of shoulder blade, and she says, "Aiden, just listen. They're not here to hurt you. Just hear them out. It's very important."
Let's sit and have some tea or something while we talk about this, okay?
That sounds pretty good.
That's a wonderful idea. Max, do refreshments and sandwiches, please. And Max nods and walks away. But it's one of those things where he definitely doesn't want to do it, but he's got his orders. But he's still kind of looking between both of you, like both parties, between you all and Aiden. Like, he's probably suspicious of both. But anyway, he reluctantly nods and says, "Yes, ma'am," and goes off to presumably prepare sandwiches and beverages.
As he starts walking towards the door, I'm still kind of there invisible. I just ask, "Want a hand?"
He looks around and sees no one looking in his direction and continues into the cabin.
So,
As he passes me, I'll be like, "I guess that's a no."
Yeah, actually, I was going to do something similar, but Fiona will say, actually, there's quite a few of us about if I don't really feel like I'm the best at talking, so I'll do what I'm good at.
also, I kind of want to turn around and be like, "Hey, Jacob and Mark, I appreciate your backup. You guys are cool guys, but the less of us there are out here bothering him, I think the less it'll stress him out. Would you guys mind hanging out in there with, the rest of them? We're not here to intimidate him. We don't want to scare him."
Yeah, honestly, I kind of didn't mean to ask Max to do that. I more so intended. I thought Fion might be good for that.
Fion is going to help, so.
Yeah, if Fion waves a hand over his shoulder as he's already halfway to the cabin.
Yeah, Fion's good for hospitality.
Fionn, you discover down there that not only is there a surprisingly stocked wet bar, but there is also a tremendous variety of jams, preserves, and nut butters, and I mean some of this stuff like you don't even know.
Are you're still doing the thing with Fion, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll wait.
So yeah, Fionn, there appear to be a variety of well, essentially like flat. They're not like crackers. They're not hardened, but they're not really full loaves. And he says we weren't exactly prepared for so much company. You make do here. And so essentially, he seems to be kind of preparing uh, some quick sandwiches of different spreads of things and cutting them up into various small triangles and rectangles and putting skewers of some kind of a wood through them.
Fion pulls out the flour that he bought recently and says, "You've got non-salt salt water. I can make some flatbreads. Maybe help out a little bit."
Says we're a bit limited. I mean, in terms of breads, this will be okay for now. Maybe you could see to some sort of a garnish or maybe the drinks. But we got plenty of water, and he can indicate a pump that is attached to a barrel.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start filling cups, I guess.
Okay, just of water, or you
Oh,
have so many things to drink here.
yeah. I'm sorry, I had a dumb brain moment.
Perfectly fine.
I mean, is there tea? I feel like tea is relatively low impact, high results cost, wise.
It's warm and comforting.
Yeah. Do I see any like teas looking around that I can make?
Looking around through, you do find, I mean, something of a tea. Yeah, surely a tea.
Do I think there's enough to use and not run them out of stock?
It looks like they've got a fairly hefty amount, and beside you, as you're sniffing into it, Max says, "Ooh, that stuff's strong. So, be careful. Don't add too much."
Fiona will take just a hair, like a pinch of salt worth, and pinch it on his thumb, and not licking the leaves, but licking his thumb, test it for strength.
Okay, make a Constitution saving throw, please.
That's a 16.
You're not quite sure if it's the Fae, being touched by a Fae that's sort of coming into it, but you're not worried about the number of mushrooms that are suddenly walking around the room.
Oh boy, maybe don't make some tea.
That's unfortunate.
Anyway, we will come back to that momentarily. Above deck, Ormus, did you also go down?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic, great. So you're doing that. Up on deck, Lee, Mollingmort, and Aldrin to an extent, although quietly, and Adira. Although I'll have Jacob and Mark go. If you guys are sort of more towards the stern, they'll go up towards the bow and get out of everyone's hair. But Aiden seems to be a bit tense. He seems to. I mean, you can tell where he's pensive. Like he it seems like he's ready to jump off the ship at any moment, but the gentle, slight hand of his aunt has him firmly anchored to the ship currently.
Okay, first of all, my name is Molly Mort. I look at the aunt and say, I understand the confusion with me being here. They told you I was here and that I was home. I'm from down south. I ended up being part of the Blue Tempest kind of by accident because they were really nice to me and I followed along with them. And I would like to say, like, the people in Hope and stuff, and like further up north here, you got really good food and stuff. So I would just like to say that to begin with. So I appreciate your hospitality.
Amanda says, "Oh, and we're so glad to give it. See, Aiden, they're so nice. We can all be friends here. It's nothing to be worried about." And she's kind of like running her nails through his hair, and he is split between hating it and loving it. And she says, they just want to talk. It's okay. Come on, can we go? Can we sit down? Will you sit down? Molly Mort, would you roll a? I'm just curious about kind of how he may have perceived it. If you could roll a persuasion check.
That was a nat 1, so I'm going to use my luck to reroll.
Okay.
Oh, heck!
That's not possible. You cannot possibly have rolled low again, right? Like that
Two,
should be possible.
It is. I rolled 2 nat 1s.
Sometimes it's just not my fault.
Can I use I have a inspiration. Can I use that as well as a luck?
I'll allow it.
Jesus Christ! If you roll another 1, I say you throw away those dice and we stop for today.
It's not the dice's fault that it's just.
I would have entirely blamed that on the die, but that is okay. You said persuasion.
Yes, please.
Okay, so that's a 16.
Okay. So he relaxes a bit, and you think that this is certainly more disarming. He seems to be. He's no longer looking in his stance like he's momentarily about to jump into the water, and he now is relaxed a little bit more. And with a sigh, he nods, just once, one slow, steady nod. I'll heal you out.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Can I just I guess, is there a place to sit down?
So the cabin underneath is sort of a combination of a kind of different rooms, amongst them being a galley and a kind of sleeping quarters, which is rather cramped. And then there is an area that is essentially tables and chairs, benches rather.
All right, maybe. Yeah, I guess we'll just head down there and take a seat.
Yeah, and it's not really below. It's like it's half submerged in the deck, if that kind of makes any sense.
Yeah, I got you. I think that.
Okay.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
All right.
Guys, that scared me so much. 2 nat 1s, I want to cry.
Yeah, that is absurd. Like that's a 1 in 400% chance, right? Or not 400%, 400 chance.
I got 2 nat 1s in that last session too.
Horrifying.
It might be time to be rid of that dice.
Yeah, I set that die aside.
So I remember last time we saw each other, things didn't go over super well, but I'm not mad. I get it. but I really do think that we could both benefit from, do you know about what's going on with Morningstar?
Well, with
Don't.
the world, really.
Yeah,
I'm a bit out of touch.
that's. Hey, I mean, I would imagine you're trying to keep on the down low. Um, so Morningstar has risen up an army, and long story short, they're kind of trying to take over the world, and they're working with Tiamat. You know, the Tiamat that was supposed to have been defeated.
No. It was wasn't. Yeah. Tiamat was supposed to be defeated. Sorry. History is a little bit
Wrong?
history is written by the winners, so it's not entirely accurate.
Yeah. Do you have any questions? Do you have anything else needs to be explained? I would imagine so.
He just stares at you, fairly expressionless.
Well, I pointed Aladrin. Aladrin here was called by Bahamut to the land of the humans and tasked with finding the 4 weapons that were crafted by Bahamut to defeat Tiamat. We've got 3 of the 4 of them, and all we have left is the net. And then we have a couple other tasks ahead of us. But we're running out of time, and Tiamat is on the way to destroy a place called Hope, which is where Bahamut and the humans are.
And I would just like to say, I understand the importance of this weapon or this net. It's generally not considered a weapon. These objects. My home understood it, and we actually sent it away to be hidden ourselves. So I would like to say that my family certainly understands the importance of keeping these things protected.
They're protected. I believe that they're being protected for the right time, and I think that time is now. Yes, they're dangerous and they're powerful, but I think it's for this purpose.
So, Fion, these mushroom creatures, they don't bother you. They're fine. Nothing to worry about. You want to make drinks?
Yeah, I'll go light on the tea because I can associate that it's probably got a strong flavor to it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess begin to boil the water.
All right. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot in the way of places to boil water. You could maybe start a fire on the countertop, or there's the water barrel. I mean, it's got water in it. That should be fine. Maybe there's some place in the next room for you to start to heat up the water.
I'll take a peek in the next room.
Yeah, it looks to be kind of a. It's kind of odd. Is that it's a relatively open room with a fairly large bed, and then off to in one of the walls are almost like cubby holes, but those are beds themselves. I guess you figure that one's for Madame Zargo, and then those others are for probably Max or whoever. But this seems to be there's a desk here and something of a dresser and a wash basin.
Now, like out of character, I realize that I'm tripping, but
A little bit.
I do have a question.
Mhm.
You mentioned just starting a fire on the countertop. Does that, like, in my current state of mind, seem like a reasonable idea? Because,
Well, I mean, everything seems pretty reasonable.
Can I just say, Max is there with you, right? He might have some insight onto how to handle this.
Well, that's the thing. Leon used to be a professional chef. Like, he knows how to make tea, you know. Oh,
Yeah. But the wash basin here, that's a possibility. It's this large bowl. I mean, you could put the water in it, or you could start the fire in it and then put the water in like a pot above it. I mean, that's something. There's not a lot of cookery here. It doesn't seem like this is a vessel for long range voyages.
um, I think I will lean back in and ask him like, hey, how do you guys usually make this tea? I don't really see any way currently to boil any water for it.
Oh, well, usually we kind of soak it in, cold soak it, or we mix it in with the desserts.
So what he's saying is they use it to have fun, not to actually relax, like tea is usually used for.
Well, it depends on how one describes relaxing. But, I mean, he doesn't seem to object.
Leon says, mix it into
Is
the.
He nods.
Like the actual tea leaves mixed.
He nods again. And he says, yeah, I'll make some first later. That's no big deal.
Is there any way to use the fire elemental that is on the ship for such a task?
I'm sorry. What? There's a fireman elemental on the ship.
Yeah.
Yes. So the
Yes, that's how
engine,
we
which is further below, there's a fire elemental that is contained, and it's in a chamber that is basically flooded, which superheats the water, which creates steam, which powers a propeller, essentially making the ship able to run with an engine.
Gotcha. Okay.
And uh, yeah, if you're looking for a place to cook it, maybe perhaps with a bit of a suggestion for Hermes. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. You'll just go down and, I mean, it's already heating water. There's heated water right there. You could just use that, or maybe put something on it. Maybe heat the water there. You just got to put it in the container to hold the water.
Is there any like kettles or anything around?
Not really, no.
I
As I
am
said,
still
there seems.
invisible, by the way.
Yeah,
I just want that to be known, so his.
I know, but Fionn was aware of this as he's just trying to thinking of where to heat something up. But there is, as I said, there is a kind of a wash basin. It seems to be made of some kind of a bronze or some sort of decorative brass, really polished bronze or brass. Not gold though, but possibly looking like gold. That is something that could be used to heat metal, or rather heat water into.
Fionn disappears into the other room and grabs it.
Gotcha. There's a compartment that you suspect is likely what leads further down and towards the container for the fire elemental.
Yeah, I'll go down.
You got a real scrunch down low on this one. This is a bit of a crawl space in a sense for your size. This was clearly built by dwarves.
If you'd like, I can go down.
Yeah, you could.
No, I mean, sure, Trippy's not going down.
But yeah, Fionn, as you kind of go a little bit lower in, Ormus, you can hear as the gang is coming into a sort of common room in the room before the galley here, presumably to sit down and, talk things over. It seems fairly amicable. You can hear discussion.
Oh, good.
But Fionn, as you go lower down, did you bring some of the water with you, or are you going to use some of the water down there?
I'd probably have brought some with me.
Okay, so you've carefully pumped water into this bit of a basin, or poured it in from a pitcher, and or rather, you might even have a flask of the water separate, and then the basin separate, and you'll just pour it in when you get there, because you were probably already preparing water in a kind of a kettle in a sense, but not really, because the pitchers themselves are not at all ready for heat. But heading down further in, you eventually come to an area that essentially it looks a lot like a coffin. basically like a sarcophagus made of, it looks like a brownish metal of some kind. And you can hear it almost, there's a vibration in a sense, but not like Lee's vibration. And you can hear the occasional kind of ha-chunka. And there's the rattling of chains occasionally as the mechanism seems to be working itself, or rather moving things around automatically, even though the ship isn't moving, it's on some sort of maybe standby or something. And it's quite humid down here. Very hot. But this sarcophagus is about the size of a nice flat grill, you know?
I mean, is there heat coming off of it?
Oh yeah, major heat. This thing is like an active grill.
Oh yeah, then I'll just kind of, if I can walk up to it and get within like arm's length
Yep.
of it, yeah, just
You can touch it. Yeah.
place the basin on top of it, kind of wait for what appears to be a boil.
All right. So Aiden is still staring at you, Lee.
Is there
His
any
arms are crossed.
Should I make like a check or something for how well my argument went over, or is it because it's more of like a logical sort of attempt at an argument? Or like he probably doesn't trust me, so maybe I don't know.
In this sort of an essence, he's still listening, but his mood has improved to the point where he was willing to come down. I mean, that's an improvement.
True. He's not like flighty now, which is good.
Yeah, but is, a little bit more, and we'll get into the checks. But right now, he's still just listening. He said he'd hear you out, and he's hearing you out. Do you have anything else to offer?
I kind of got my flow broken up.
Yeah,
so I'm not sure what I'm saying.
ruined your flow.
I'm sorry. It's just
No.
I don't know what else I can add because I don't remember because that was like 10
I
minutes ago.
apologize.
It's all right. It just I can't think of anything else to add. Molly, do you have anything else to
You've
add?
probably thoroughly covered the situation that Tiamat's back. It's bad. We've got these weapons. Most of them, you've got the last weapon. We need that.
Well, there is something else I would like to add.
Sure.
She will tell him that we don't intend to keep these. I'm going to return the weapons my people had back to like Mother Daisy at the Temple of Sheila, and we promised to return the net. We do not intend to keep this. We will return it. You have clearly done a good job at keeping it safe this far.
On that note, Molly, remember we did talk about the possibility of, and I'll look at Odin, if you wouldn't feel comfortable entrusting it to us, I wouldn't be opposed to you coming with us.
Yeah.
So that you can oversee its safekeeping. I know, we can talk about this more with some back and forth, but if you feel that us entirely, taking it away from your sight is just unthinkable, as the guardian of this net, you can come along, and then after all of this, take it back and keep it safe.
Yeah, that's a good idea. He can come along. He can see the kind of stuff we're trying to do. I mean, if Max is for it, he could come along too. If sorry, I'm blanking on his name. If Aiden doesn't feel safe with us, I mean, you can even hold on to the net if you just come with us and give us the opportunity to show that we do not have any ill intent.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like maybe your argument would be a lot more convincing if you could see this city of hope and know exactly what's at stake. If you could meet Bahamut yourself and the creator of that net.
not just Bahamut, but also Queen Anna. I mean, well, that's a bit of a complicated situation because, well, we're not
Right.
keeping secrets, but that's another story.
That's not important at the moment. Um, I mean, I'm laying it all on the table here. What do you think? Do you have any questions? Do you have any concerns?
I have many concerns.
Well, ask the questions and I'll do my best to assuage those fears, explain what's going on.
Protecting this net is a sacred duty that's been passed down in my family for generations. To which Amanda says, "Oh, please, your father was a deadbeat drunk. He didn't have any responsibility." And you could tell pretty quickly that Aiden is spoiling very quickly at his aunt's company.
Can I make like a check to? I don't know what to say here. I just kind of want to like mediate and be like, whoa, 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 guys, come on, let's not snap at each other. Kind of a check to like calm things down, mediate.
Sure.
If Molly's close enough, she'll put a hand on her hand or arm or whatever.
That's fine. Yeah. And Lee, if you would, make a persuasion check.
With advantage?
Did you use guidance?
I did not use guidance because I'm also trying to get her to calm down and not say any harsh words.
Gotcha. Okay, I was just confused of what you were doing. I thought when you touched Lee, you were trying to cast guidance.
No, I'm touching what's her name? Amanda.
Okay.
Which is why I was hoping for advantage, because I'm hoping that I'll be helping with that by catching her attention, kind of giving her a silent indication to just calm down. It's okay.
Persuasion, right?
Persuasion, yes. It's not so much about getting her to calm down. She's not the concern.
Well,
to get her to calm down, but to get her to kind of shut up.
Yeah.
I only got a 14, but I mean, I don't think that's terrible, but
No, it's not terrible.
I'm just trying to kind of, shift the focus away from that and get everybody to kind of calm down a little bit. It's like, that's not what's important here.
Yeah, this should be a safe place.
If there's anything that we can tell you that can help.
Aiden shakes his head and he says, "I knew coming here was a mistake. I knew I could never trust you," he says to Amanda, and he gets up again. And he says, "I told you last time. I am going to protect the net, even if it means protecting it from you."
What I'm saying, you can come along if that's what you need to do. Like,
and you can bring it to these other people that may use it. No, I will not. If they want it, if you want it, you take it over my dead body.
We're not going to fight you, Aiden. Please, just listen. Why do you think you've been guarding it for so long? Yes, it's a powerful artifact, but it was made for a purpose, and this is its purpose. Your family has been guarding this for generations for this single reason. Can I make a persuasion check or something? Is this the right time for that, or?
You can make a persuasion check anytime you like.
Okay. That's me trying to convince him. I don't know how convincing that is,
okay.
But 19 plus 3, 22?
That's pretty darn persuasive.
I got lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Hey. I'll look in the eye and be like, you know, if you search in your heart that this is the right thing to do.
You can see that Amanda's eyes are glassing up a little bit. Maybe not you, Lee, because you're kind of focused, but she looks like she's on the edge of tears. But she is keeping silent as long as Molly Mort has a hand on her, basically.
Yeah, Molly Moore's going to try to, comfort her now a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I like to think that I've caught Aiden Marsden in Lee's firm steely gaze.
Almost certainly. And Aiden, he looks to be kind of mulling things over and thinking a bit. And he says, I'll give it to you on one condition.
Yes. State your condition. I'm here to listen.
I'll give it to you if you swear to never let it have a chance of falling into the hands of anyone who would abuse it.
I think Lee will think this over for just a moment. Just like, he'll kind of look down, like like he's kind of like into himself. He'll look Aiden directly in the eyes with resolve and say, I swear.
Mollymore is going to walk up beside him and say, I promise to protect it with my life, and I take that very seriously.
I don't know if this is an appropriate time, but I was very tempted to cast Zone of Truth before I swore to it. Can I do that without scaring the shit out of him?
I mean, sure, yeah.
Okay, I'll cast Zone of Truth, and there'll just be like a little bit of a shimmer to the ear, and I'll look him in the eye, and I will, choose to fail the check, and completely, I'll swear to him. I swear to bring this back.
I always kind of pictured that Zone of Truth almost turns like an anime filter on everything, where the light becomes really contrasted, and for some reason, everybody's hair is kind of flitting up a little bit and getting a little sharp.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, just like a little radius like extends out from Lee.
Yeah, and everyone's underlit for some reason, but like in a cool way.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And he, still keeping the eye with you, Lee, says, and when you're done with it, I want you to destroy it.
Should be able to do that with Bahamut. Bahamut created it.
With any luck, I've even suggested that possibly using the power of these items to maybe bring back Bahamut to life, but he's already shot that down. Perhaps he can take the magic from them anyway.
He shot that down.
He shot down the idea for it bringing him back to life.
Oh, I got you. Yeah,
but he never said that he couldn't still take the power from them. If we no longer need them, that might be within.
We have direct orders from their creator to collect them, and I am confident that their creator can destroy them.
Aiden, satisfied with your oath, nods and walks out of the cabin, just as Max, a moment later, comes in with a large platter of different types of sandwiches with a variety of colors and smells of spread within them. Some with fruit, some with nuts, some with some sort of an odd meat jam. Like, I don't even know. But anyway, he looks disappointed that Aiden is leaving just as he did all this hard work.
You have no idea
where Fayon is. You serious?
I call after him. You don't want to have lunch?
You hear a splash.
Well, damn.
I am going to turn back to Amanda and ask her, what's your feelings on all this? I kind of get the impression that you're kind of glad to be rid of it. I mean, I know it's dangerous, but it is, better to be protected than let be out in the world, right?
I didn't even know that such things existed. I'm quite happy to have it be gone, especially for it to be gone out of his life. He deserves better. He's not a bad kid. He really isn't. And he has so much potential and there's so much opportunity, but he's, I mean, this explains so much. He's been obsessed with staying away. And hopefully this will allow him to build a life, finally.
I hope he comes to and apologizes for what he said to you.
I don't think an apology is needed, right?
I don't think
He didn't actually say anything to her.
yeah, he didn't.
Oh, I thought he said that he should have never trusted her.
Well,
Yeah.
no, he did say that. But to be fair, it is true. She did betray him.
Yeah,
But for a good reason.
And, she did just, insult his entire lineage.
yeah. I don't think that was justified.
Is anyone concerned about the fact that he just jumped off the boat?
I think
Yep.
Lee is going to get up and go on deck. Yes.
Okay. You can see that he has climbed back into the rowboat and is rowing back to shore.
I guess I'll hop over and get on my my goat and ride over to the beach with him. I'm not chasing him. I'm just kind of leisurely going after, behind him.
Escorting him, kind of thing.
Yeah, I make it. I don't gain on him at all. I'm not it's very clear that I'm not trying to chase him.
He says that's a much better thing to be riding beyond a goat out in the water.
All he really sees is a goat head sticking out of the water, though.
Oh, well, in that case, he says, why didn't you go do that last time? Or have you taught him new tricks?
Taught him new tricks. I prepared this time just in case if he dumped me in the ocean again. Like I said, I'm not mad, but I'm also not an idiot.
And I'm also not sorry.
I'm gonna laugh my ass off if that friggin'
That is-
fruit net is the net.
Yeah, I didn't think you were sorry.
He continues to row with a little bit of a smile on his face.
Trust me, I understand needing to do what you have to do, so that's why I say I'm not mad, not because I think you should be sorry, but because I think you were justified in doing what you did. A guardian of sorts as well.
He nods. Fionn, the water is at a hard boil.
I'll throw the leaves in and wait for its color to shift.
It shifts into various colors.
Oh, no.
Wonderful colors. The bowl is shifting into wonderful colors. This is just a nice day.
Owl City starts to play in the background. I believe your eyes.
Fionn, I'll be honest, I'm having a hard because I feel like the whole thing would be I do things that I normally wouldn't because I'm incapacitated, but me as a player is not incapacitated, so I'm having trouble judging well, this is just common sense versus
Well, the way I kind of picture it is that with the there's minor hallucinations that are going along with it, and then the biggest effect is that the thing that tells us that, hey, wait, don't do that, that's a bad idea, that thing is gone.
Yeah, the inhibitor.
Yeah. And so it's one of those things where it's just I need to start a fire. Where can I start a fire? Well, this is big enough for a fire, as you started on the dining room table. It's it's a good place to put a fire. It's right there. It's convenient height. I don't see the problem. It's that sort of thing.
Just filter everything through Jax.
Okay, so I will at this point realize that I haven't brought anything to remove the extremely hot pot from the boiling surface. So I just kind of take my jacket off and try and grab it.
Okay. Yeah, you're able to do that. You can hear a little bit of a light sizzling, but yeah, you can
It sounds pretty. It's
pick up.
nice.
So you just want to pick up the boiling wash basin.
Yeah, just start making my way back with it.
Okay. Just start making your way through this very small opening, almost like a crawl space opening,
Yeah.
with the boiling water. Fantastic. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's done.
Go ahead and make
It's
a
shifting
dexterity. Go ahead and make a dexterity check, please. not in any way inhibited.
A save, or is it like any particular check?
Um,
I
I'm
can-
imagining like you're trying to move around while holding this thing. It's not so much a save. It is a skill in a sense, but it's not so much acrobatics. I think it is just straight kind of dexterity to try and keep this thing from splashing and spilling everywhere.
Oh no!
Yeah,
Oh no!
that doesn't sound good.
No, I
What'd you
rolled a nat 1.
Ah, I cursed
Up
you.
with the now ones today. This is insanity.
Well, if it's plus my dex, that's a 4.
Yeah.
Would it be
Yeah.
a slight?
You take 8 damage as your hands and arms and a good portion of your torso are scalded and burns. And it smells delicious. But you don't feel it, and it doesn't seem to inhibit you. You're just red now in a lot of places. But the tea is ruined.
Awful.
Well,
Get it?
I mean,
You're
I
all
guess
wet.
I'll just kind of leave it, just leave it where it is. Grab my jacket from the bowl and try and dry myself off with it.
Okay, yeah. And you probably just make your way out of the crawl space, kind of trying to dry yourself off with your jacket a little bit, and you can see Max. Like, oh, there you are. Yeah. Lunch is off. Don't worry about it.
No, it's on. It's on me. And Theon gestures at his completely wet front.
There's just a little bit of a snort from Max. But further out towards the shore, the rowboat soon comes onto the pebbled beach, and he drags it up on shore, ties it off.
Is anybody else coming with Lee, or is he just out there by himself?
I think Molly would have entrusted this to you.
All right, Ormus, anybody? Aldrin? Aldrin could just
Nope.
dive into the water.
I think Aldrin would definitely go with. Yeah.
Okay.
Because like he doesn't trust him.
Hey, I get it.
Yeah. But he'll keep a bit of a distance. He'll mostly kind of stay in the water and just watch a bit. Much in the way that, well, I'm picturing like a crocodile, just the eyes coming up.
Yeah.
The computer next to each other doing the crocodile, I think.
How long did this whole encounter take?
Only a few minutes, really.
Okay. I'm going to trace back to where Theon went.
Okay, yeah, you can back to like going all the way into the crawl center, the sort of
Yeah.
crawl area of the ship.
I kind of want to find out where this elemental is.
Okay, well, you see a steel sarcophagus, but we'll get back to that. When you get to shore, Lee, Aiden goes into his hut. And do you go with him, or do you just kind of stay outside?
I'll stand outside of his hut and wait.
All right. You, while standing outside of the hut, see a flaming log get thrown out the door, and then another one, and then you hear a kind of a frustrated noise, and then if you peek in, you can see that he's seemingly pushing everything aside and trying to put out the fire of his fire pit.
I'll give him a hand. I'll help him.
He doesn't really, not much more than just a nod of acknowledgement. He doesn't really thank you or anything. But as he continues to dig up and move rocks aside and move more rocks aside, about a foot and a half below the fire pit is a simple canvas bag. And opening the canvas bag, he produces a net that is made of a sort of almost coppery kind of string. It's like it's got like a sort of an auburn gleam to it, but it clearly is not of a typical thread. But it does appear to be almost like metal wire.
This is definitely not the one I saw him with before.
No.
Okay, that's good to know.
And he holds it a bit and he just looks at it. And then he cinches the bag, hands it over. And
I
that's
will. Oh, go ahead.
That's it.
I will take the bag and I'll look him in the eye and give him a little bit of a nod. Like, I don't really think there's anything else that needs to be said. I think everything that can be said or that would mean anything to him has already been said. So I'll just kind of nod to him and I'll take my leave.
All right. He just resumes, or rather begins filling back in the fire pit. And, as you walk away, that's kind of what he's doing.
I think it would occur to Lee as he's walking away, he would turn back to his work. He'd kind of look at him for a second. And
When
say,
you turn back, you can see that as you're walking away, he was putting it in. But you walk away a few steps, and as you look back, he's just kind of kneeling over it in a way almost not in any sort of like a prayer form, but essentially he's collapsed down, torso on legs, sort of in the kneeling position, as much as one can shrink in almost like a slinky form of a human, compressed down as much as you can, with his face in his hands.
like is wrong. Can I make some sort of check to like get because I'm having a hard time visualizing it.
Sure, maybe an insight check. I mean, essentially, like imagine someone is sitting up on their knees, right? So they got their chins flat on the sort of barely sort of plant covered pebbles and back straight. But imagine now somebody is leaned over, much in the way that some may be in for like I'm trying to describe in a sort of way. Is anyone else getting it? Like you're on your knees, you bend over. No one?
Yeah, kind of like in a ball, but on your knee, on your shins, right?
Sort of.
Is he
Kneeling almost?
Well,
Is he in the fetal position?
no, he's not in the fetal position. I'm not describing it. Maybe I'm not getting quite the right words.
Like praying or that he's upset?
Well, he's not. He doesn't appear to be praying. But one could mistake it for that if they didn't recognize prayer too well.
I mean, Lee recognizes prayer pretty well, so I only rolled a 6, but I have a +3 for emotional insight.
So you rolled a total of 9 or
9.
6?
Unfortunately, it was only a 9, yeah.
Okay. I mean, with that, you can tell the position of, like, he's covering his face. He's all the way down. It's probably emotional pain.
I'm going to turn back and say to him, I'm going to say, Aiden, live your life. I mean, that's essentially it, just you have a chance now and live your life, and then I'm going to leave.
All right.
In the meantime, I'm going to be asking Amanda if, is it okay if we send letters to you to keep an update to, let you know that everything's okay?
She nods. She says, I would appreciate that.
Okay,
And of course, the offer still stands. I'm quite happy to sponsor you all.
I think that's okay. I'm not sure how the Queen would feel about that.
Oh, well, I would be more than happy to help represent you to the Queen. have good representation skills
Oh,
and
no,
good representatives.
we're already being represented by the queen a little bit.
Oh, I see, I see. Well, I can work with her then, and we'll figure out a deal.
I don't think that's necessary.
Hmm?
Can Fiona over here? Oh, sorry. What, you said something, Lee?
Don't worry.
Can Fiona hear this conversation?
Oh, yeah. Oh, to remind, because you weren't here, she offered to sponsor the Blue Tempest, to present the Blue Tempest, to provide goods, transportation, services, whatever is needed that was in her resources. She is apparently fairly wealthy, although not necessarily as wealthy as she might want other people to think she is. But she offered that, and she floated the idea of like making statues of you guys and sending them out to places to get your image up, to really pushing for publicity. She's basically offering representation in that sense.
So Fiona with his shirt off and well, I guess armor because he doesn't actually, he just wears his armor. Anyways, shirtless and all of his clothes in one hand, begins to take off his pants. And he's like, "Well, I did just ruin my clothes."
She looks over and goes, "Oh my!"
Fiat, what happened? Did you? What? You're burned.
What? No, I'm fine. It doesn't hurt. I'm fine. It's cool.
Don't. Why are you taking your clothes off?
They got what?
Don't. Okay, there are ladies in the room.
Max comes up and says, how much of that tea did you drink?"
I tasted the leaf to see, test its strength because you
The
mentioned
raw
how
leaf?
strong it was. Yeah. Meanwhile, Fiona's continuing to take his pants off unless someone physically stops him.
Max looks at Amanda Zargo, and Amanda looks at Max, and then they just both burst out laughing.
Molly is walking out of the room. She is not going to be part of this.
Well, I mean, like, to be fair, I probably do have underwear of some sort on. It's just, I mean, like, logically, the thought process of, well, my clothes are wet, I need to change,
Yeah, and that's perfectly reasonable. Yeah. Max says, might have something that might fit you, big fella, back here. Come on. And he'll take you into the sort of back compartment and get you a decent-sized robe that is not quite big enough for you, but it's something for now at least. And he says, and we'll put these up on deck to dry, okay? And he takes your clothes.
That sounds good. Thanks, man. By the
Yeah,
way,
no problem.
these guys, they really know how to dance, and Fiona just stares at the ground.
He looks at where you're staring, and he goes, and he smiles a little bit, and he pats your shoulder, and he says, "They usually do. They usually do." And he'll head out and put your clothes up on deck. So, Lee, you potentially have an item of tremendous power in your possession. You want to head back on your goat and head back to the ship, or do you want to try it out? What do you want to do?
The second option?
Hmm?
Well, second option, try it out.
Try it out. Yeah, try it. Attempt. Take it for a test run.
Yeah, no, I'm not planning on using it right now.
Okay.
I just kind of want to get back to the group, and I don't know. I guess just get back to the group. I didn't want to say more than was necessary with Aiden, but I felt like I needed to say something, and it just seemed like the right thing to say is like, this hurts for now, but like, live your life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It's reasonable.
But yeah, I'll head back on the goat.
All right. Now, with your Aladrin escort, and you get to the ship after not too long. And
you find Molly on the deck, like sitting facing the water, just covering her eyes.
What happened?
And Amanda with a smile, fanning herself out with a gleaming golden fan. and a little blush.
Artemis too.
Sorry, that response killed me.
It's not. I'm not even.
Speaking of, we'll give. Hang on, we got to break off of that. So Artemis, having gone below deck, you have found a seemingly metallic sarcophagus with all kinds of pipe work going into and out of it, with chains and gears and all kinds of complex mechanisms that you really can't make sense of.
Okay. The sarcophagus. I'm gonna give it a nice little knock.
It is scorching hot, and you can feel it even before you do the knock. Do you want to still do the knock?
Yeah, I want to confirm that this thing is in there.
Okay.
I'll do it with the hand axe.
Okay, I was about to roll damage. So yeah, you taking the hand axe can give it a wrap, and on the inside, you can just hear something like a scream.
Okay. I'm still invisible. I got probably close to 45 minutes left with it.
Yeah, somewhere in that neighborhood. 40, 45 minutes, 40 minutes, fine.
How long did
At
it
least
take us
half
to
an
get?
hour.
Okay. How long did it take us to get out here? We probably got a few hours.
A couple
Get
of
back.
hours. Yeah.
Are we capable of taking multiple short rests?
Yes, you can take as many short rests as you like.
Oh,
Okay.
shit. That's okay. My mistake.
I will cast tongues, undo the invisibility, and tell it I plan on getting it out. I can get it back to its home plane. Trust me, it'll be a little while, no more than a few hours. I'm sorry that this is your existence for now. And
Okay.
casting tongues will allow it to understand me.
Yep. Speaking the language of the well, they're not infernal, but the burning plains, the
Yeah, I
elemental
think
language.
it's Ignan.
Trying to remember what the language is called. They all have special languages. Pardon?
Then
Primordial?
Ignian?
Simeon?
Ignian.
Ignian. Yeah. Well, IGNAN. Not quite sure, but yeah, that. And having done that, just go up on deck again and play it casual.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Do I don't hear any response as I'm leaving, do I?
No.
Okay.
All right.
Shoot, I was gonna look to see if there was any locks or anything.
You did not see locks, but let's see. But yeah, Lee, you've arrived. You have asked, what did Oramus do?
What? No, I didn't do anything.
He didn't. It's Fionn. There's something up with him.
What happened to Theo?
I don't know. He started undressing. He's wet and he's got burns on him, and I don't know what happened.
Go search out Fiona.
Fionn, you can be wherever you like to be. Your clothes are up on deck, warming out,
Okay.
and you've got a robe and your underwear. And the robe is way too small.
I'd probably just be on deck, just hanging around.
Yeah, you can see Fionn kind of coming around from the bow in.
I'm just gonna look at him concerned and be like, "Are you okay? What happened?" I'll look at his burns, kind of be like, as I kind of mom over him, I get close. I'm like, "Let me see that."
Yeah, it looks like he has. I mean, this thing looks like it's a pretty bad burn. It's not great.
Lee kind of moms him, pulls him down, is looking at him, like, what happened? And start to cast lay on hands.
Fionn just says, "Oh, I'm good. It's fine. I just got a little bit burned. I spilled some hot water on myself. I'm good."
Unless if you stop him, Lee's just gonna cast it, or he's just gonna start healing Fionn. I guess for 10 HP.
All right. Yeah, the burn heals in much the way that things often heal when Lee's holy touch is upon them.
I might touch his forehead and see if I feel like he has a fever.
He does not seem to have a fever.
Are his eyes dilated?
Oh yeah.
Did Lee know about weird magic drugs? Being a guard, would he have training in that?
Probably in certainly some drugs, but maybe make a medical check, medicine check.
Holy shit, that's actually good. I got an 18. I don't know what my modifier is though. I'll have to check.
With an 18, while you might not necessarily recognize the particular cause of his situation, you can most certainly recognize the signs of euphoric intoxication. He's tripping pretty hard on something, and he seems to be having a pretty good afternoon.
Max nearby?
Hmm?
Is Max nearby?
He can be. He's just kind of lounging.
Yeah,
Say, what did he eat?
Oh, he got into a special tea.
I don't know exactly what that means, but I'll just kind of look at Fiona and be like, we don't really have anything going on today. Fuck it. And I'll just like leave him high.
Fair enough.
Let him have fun.
Once you are aboard, Amanda Zargo will come over to you, Lee, and said, "Have you got it?
Yeah, we've got it.
Is he all right? Is he coming back, or is he?"
I think he needs some time to himself. I'm not sure, but I think it might have been pretty hard for him to let this go.
She nods.
I have faith that he'll be all right, though. I think he just needs some time to figure things out.
She smiles a little bit, and she says, "And you're quite the man of faith, aren't you?"
I would say so. I believe in a lot of things.
Have you considered the benefit of our goddess Joaquin? As Max begins to start the ship away.
Lee like takes out his gear and is like looking on the back of it and like, is Joaquin in my in my circle?
No, she is not.
Yeah.
You check to make sure. Hang on, is she an affiliate partner of?
I mean, it would make sense. They're all gods of civilization, invention, stuff like that.
Yes.
Trade would probably fit pretty nicely.
It frequently does, but the issue is Joaquin does not play well with many others. She's just a little bit more
Greedy?
That's a word. Yeah. She certainly appreciates good things, and there's all kinds of issues, but very rarely is she in a cooperative pantheon. Anyway,
have you heard the word of Philbin? He's like, oh yeah, I gave you a book. Never mind.
Indeed.
Pretty great at parties.
Yeah.
Fiona, you just sort of anyway, but you all can enjoy your bit of a pleasure cruise. Unless there's anything specific anyone wants to accomplish, you will soon enough be, after several hours, be riding the elevator, the lock back up into the enclosed lagoon that makes up the lake, the farm, really, that is her family's empire.
I think Lee is going to find Ormus on the ride back after the conversation with Amanda and basically take out the net and give it to Ormus and be like, you know, each one of us is holding on to a different artifact. I feel like you're the right person to entrust with this. Do you want
Are
it?
you sure?
You don't have to take it if you don't want to, but Aldrin's got the spear, Fion's got the bow, Molly's got the club, and I want
You-
to entrust you with the net if you feel like you can handle that responsibility. If that's something you want cast upon you.
Well,
You do not throw the net onto Ormus.
I'm not going to throw the net onto you, buddy. Don't worry.
well, the thing is that you
Metaphorically.
worked so hard to get this. I feel like it should be yours.
Don't. You've sworn to protect this party as well as I have, and I, want to trust that, in this battle, you could use it. You don't have to take it if you don't want to, but I want you to know that the offer is there.
I'm just surprised after all the hard work that you put into it that you pass it on.
I work hard for all of us. We all work hard together, and that's what's important. It's not for each one of our glories, it's for the greater good.
Thank you. Do you mind if I talk to you a little bit separately?
Yeah, of course. I
Okay.
don't follow Ormus.
I have an idea. Amanda won't like it. Just very quietly. But
Yeah.
it's gonna cost her a lot of money.
But
But I don't think that she has a problem with that. With money.
I want to stop you right there just for a second. Ormus, she's been very kind and helpful to us. Do we really want to do something that's going to hurt her?
It's not
Well,
gonna
let me hear you
hurt
out.
her. It's I have an issue with how nonchalantly they are allowing a creature to be tortured.
Yeah, Molly would have definitely wanted to talk to Amanda about that during the trip back to
Yeah. I think we would also bring that up. We'd be like, yeah, I think Molly would kind of have a problem with that too.
Yeah, it's been bugging me this whole trip. I can get him back to his plane. I want to do it without her knowing. That's the thing.
Sure.
And I was
you
gonna
have-
do this by myself, but I've seen the metal work and everything down there. I don't think I can do this on my own.
Ormus, I don't know if I was the right person to tell about this. I can definitely see where you're coming from. I think Molly would totally agree with you. I think Fiona would have a problem with it. And I don't like it either. I mean, can I make like some sort of check about what I know about elementals and if getting water poured on them would like I know it would do damage, but I don't know if it would if they feel pain,
Sure. I don't know what you would roll for that, though.
I would bet Arcana or Nature, depending on which one.
Yeah, I was gonna say
yeah.
Arcana, but nature too, yeah.
I would think Arcana probably, because it is sort of elemental in its way. They're not really very natural. But
I have
they are.
a +1, so a 15.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's a fire elemental, and it's being splashed with water. If it can feel anything, it's almost certainly feeling something. I mean, you don't know if there's an equivalent to pain for a being made of fire, but I mean, it's certainly not its norm.
Yeah, I think Lee at least feels like it seems like it would be wrong. It seems wrong.
I feel like she would say no, and then all of our chances to getting this thing back to its homeland even harder.
I mean, I don't feel good about it being in the engine, but I also don't feel good about, kind of spitting on Amanda's hospitality. She's been very helpful and kind to us. Is there some sort of middle ground we could find where we could let the elemental go and also not put Amanda out of a lot of money and time?
Well, we could talk to her if you'd like, if you had already planned on doing it. But I just don't want to
but I bet Molly would
damage our chances of getting this thing gone. And I know that Amanda probably doesn't worry about money, and she's probably gonna buy another one anyway. If it's fair. It's fair. We should definitely talk to him about that.
Yeah, I figure like separate from this conversation out of character, Molly has probably like found an opportunity to try to talk to her or something.
Yeah.
Is that correct assumption?
Yes.
I definitely did want to have a conversation about that. I just, didn't want to push to go first because I figured if, you wanted to talk to Ormus, that's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, she really wants to have a talk with Amanda.
All right, I'll step aside. Go ahead.
So you can certainly get some time with her. She's resumed her basking position.
Molly Mort will come over and just sit cross-legged beside her and say, "Hey, Amanda, sorry to bother you, but can we talk?"
Of course. You mentioned it was before Molly Mort?
Yeah, I was the panther.
I was about to say, I bet you were the big cat.
Yeah, that was me. They told you I was a gnome. I guess you didn't believe that.
They told me that you had a name. Anyway, this is certainly interesting. I've heard of people that can change shape and other people that can change other people's shape. Can you become other things?
Absolutely. But first, I do want to talk with you about something kind of serious. It's not about Aiden. It's about your ship. It's powered by a fire elemental. You know that those are like living creatures, right? And that you're kind of keeping it trapped and hurting it just to power your ship.
Well, I don't know about hurting it. I mean, how much can it really feel?
I mean, I've spoken with the fire elemental before, and it was
Speak?
they don't speak common, but yes, they speak Ignan, and well, since I summoned it, I could talk to it, and it was they don't like water. It does kind of hurt them.
Hmm.
I understand that you paid a lot of money for this ship and this means of powering it, and I kind of want to try to compensate you for that, but if it feels really immoral to have you being hurting this fire elemental just to because I mean it is a cool way to power your ship, but it's really not. It's
Ethical.
Immoral?
yeah, unethical.
Huh.
It's not good.
Let me guess. You're also a vegetarian.
She's also against fur, probably.
That's kind of situational. Yes, I am because I can become most animals that, people tend to eat.
Gone from it. Would Fiona still be inebriated? Like, how long does this last?
It lasts about half an hour. So after a little bit of time, it fades off, and you don't really even feel it going away. You just all of a sudden realize that something's a bad idea, or maybe realize thinking, and also too, you don't really remember everything. Kind of like waking up from a dream. Like you remember the dream, but 2 minutes later you don't remember the dream, but you also don't remember remembering the dream, and so it just doesn't bother you.
But I'm sure he recognizes the fact that he's in a robe that's a bit too small for him, not
Yeah.
wearing his clothes.
That's what I'm
Which is, but that's the thing is like he recognizes it, but he went through a transition where he thought it was totally okay, and then he forgot why it was totally okay, but he still thought that it was totally okay. Does this make any sense?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, I feel like at this point Fiona would like approach as he pulls his overcoat back on, and he's like, "Yeah, I've done some bad stuff. My morals are a little gray, but that's kind of messed up. Like, it's still a living creature, and I'm not a vegetarian, so
She sighs and rolls her eyes and says, I thought that you all were going to be good people. And she says, well, I guess I won't invite you on my next trip then. I mean, what do you want me to do?
Lee is probably the most okay with it, but he's probably still not exactly okay with it.
Well, let's just put it this way. I only try to make this point because I feel like you don't quite understand what we're saying. Would it be the same if say a stray dog were able to power your ship? Would you know?
Yeah, if a stray dog was able to power your ship because you kept stabbing it in the butt.
She giggles a little bit.
Or you.
And she says, well,
like, you want to power a ship through pain?
you're kind of
robotic.
robotic voice right now, a little bit, Ormus.
Yeah.
She says, well, if it were a stray dog powering it, it would probably be a lot cheaper.
Oh, I think I'm good now for now. Am I robotic?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Fuck. Alright, I'll type it out.
But yeah, she says, look, I've had plenty of your types tell me that everything about my life is wrong. And frankly, I'm just tired of hearing it. And I'm really disappointed that you're one of those people.
I mean, honestly, I'm pretty cool with most of what you're doing here. It's pretty fab. I would like to note that you do look great,
Thank you.
but you're really just torturing a creature to save some bucks, and that's very much not okay.
And she says, I'm not doing it to save money. I'm doing it because it's the best option. It's fantastic. We don't have a lot of wind here, and this helps me be able to travel. There's no better way to do it. It's really the future.
There has to be a better alternative. I mean, can't you just actually just keep a regular fire going down there?
Oh snap! Molly just invented the steam engine.
A regular fire, that would be one, difficult, and two, not nearly as convenient, and it certainly wouldn't be able to run the same way that this does. Pure elements running it. It's tremendous. It's clean. It's efficient. If I had wood burning down there, one, I would need all of the wood plus the ashes. And if I were to be burning other types of fuels, there's residue, there's dirtiness. This is clean. It's better for the water. It's better for the environment.
You could turn the ash into soot ink.
Not to mention, summoning elementals when you kill the last one has got to be very, very expensive. More expensive than fueling it with coal and wood when you have to use it.
Well, like I said, I'm not doing it to save money. I'm doing it because it's just better in every way.
No, it isn't.
Well, agree to disagree.
Like, I'm gonna be honest. Lee is probably the most okay with it out of the party because like Lee is from a city and has the mindset of progress.
Yeah, I understand. Lee and his oath and his pantheon.
Yeah, I mean, like, Fion isn't super okay with it, but he can live with it.
Okay.
Like, Lee understands animals are like, whipped to drive a cart and stuff like that. This seems like an extreme example, but he also doesn't know how much a elemental feels.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it's part of the problem is that he's just like, I don't know, does an elemental really feel pain the same way?
I mean, Molly has spoken with the fire elemental that was summoned, so she does have some idea of how much they can feel pain.
And I'll point out, I'm just gonna be like, Lee, when I was down there, it was
screaming.
I was like, when I was down there, and I'm just gonna do this on a down low, kind of like side whisper. When I was down there, it was screaming.
Damn. Wait, is that true?
It sounded like screaming.
Huh. Alright, I think that's enough to convince Lee. Oh, you know what? We should take her down there and cast tongues on her so she can hear it screaming.
Who can cast
Uh,
tongues here? Oh yeah, Ormus can.
She'd understand it, but if it was screaming and that was their language, she would probably understand what it's saying. But if I can tap on it and it tries to talk, it would, sound like the screams. So with the
Maybe
tongues, it might not
maybe
sound like screams.
we could try that. We could just be like, all right, we'll drop it. If you're willing to go down there and um, you know, we'll let you talk to it using magic and see what you think after that.
Well, first of all, I would like to suggest an alternative.
Okay.
Well, I mean, could you coerce a water elemental instead of, hurting a fire elemental?
Yeah, I brought that up last week, didn't I? About the wind or water elemental.
Yeah, I do believe you did.
Yeah.
She says, well, I'm willing to invest if you think that would be a better technology.
Well, it's still not the most ethical, but I do think it would be better than, throwing water at a fire elemental.
Yeah, imprisonment versus practical torture.
Yeah, it's like an ox. An ox driving a cart is reasonable. A horse driving a cart is reasonable, but pouring acid on the horse all day, every day is another thing.
Yeah. I can summon an elemental, if you're willing to relinquish the fire elemental.
Well, I'm not quite sure that I can relinquish it. I mean, what? It would ruin the ship.
Well, not here. I mean, I'm sure we could find a way to release it outside the ship.
Well, no, but then you're not understanding. Without the fire elemental, this is just a normal sailboat.
Well, that's why I'm saying I can summon a different elemental, one that, you don't have to torture to make work for you.
I'm not sure how that would work. I mean, I didn't design. I bought this. You understand?
I understand.
And that's why we offered to compensate you best we could.
Oh,
Like we get that we don't have, I don't know how much money we have. We don't have
We
all
don't
the money,
have
but
money,
perhaps
we do not.
some services. But we don't want to completely put you at a loss. I
I
can get it
also-
home.
I desperately want out here to Ormus that we do not want to become in her debt because she is a powerful and scary lady.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand. But like Molly already said, we'd like to at least try and compensate her. We don't
she
want to put
says
her at
that.
a complete loss.
She says, kind of looking you all over, and says, "As wonderful as you all are, I doubt that you have the coin equivalent of what it took to purchase this vessel.
Don't be so sure. What kind of coin did it cost?
27,000 gold."
No, money is not, guys. Come on.
There is one thing.
Which can be sponsored.
If you give me complete rights to your story, complete rights to all of it, if you let me present the Blue Tempest to the world, then I'll let you set this whole place on fire if you want.
No, I don't think we can do that.
No, you can. It'll go up really quick. It's wood, most of it.
Trust me, she definitely can.
Beyond has a distant look in his face as he looks to the distance. Well, looks to the distance. Yeah, remembering
1,000 squares there.
1,000 squares there.
Yeah. So I don't know. You guys figure out what you want to do, but I'll just say I'd rather not put ourselves in a bad situation for this elemental. Personally, I understand you guys might feel differently though.
But yeah, she's made her offer. She'll go down and she'll listen to it if you want. But she won't consent to essentially ruining the entire point of this vessel without some compensation. Her essentially saying, I'll take it if you sign on the dotted line.
So basically, if we get sponsored.
In a sense.
But own the right stuff, essentially. Which is, in my opinion, is a pretty bad place to be. So
Yeah.
I agree there.
Yeah, I think we just call it a loss. Air quotes around loss on this one. Like, we tried.
I mean, that's how Lee would feel, but I also know that Ormus and Molly both feel pretty bad about it, so I don't know if they would still want to pursue that.
Well, like, Theon's thing is, well, listen, guys, I'm with Lee. I don't like that whole rights thing, but I don't like this, but I can live with it. I don't really think it's worth pushing.
Right? You guys.
There's got to be another way.
Yeah, I can summon a water elemental or an air elemental that can still power the ship, just not by torturing it again. Okay, real quick, how fast does this ship go?
It goes somewhere in the neighborhood of about 2 miles an hour, 2 to 3 miles an hour, depending on if it's got the wind going with it. It can go a little bit faster.
All right.
Hey, it's Al.
Oh,
Hello.
Hey!
Welcome.
you missed some stuff.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that one.
We're currently
I
trying to
woke
set
up
a fire
early.
element to free.
Oh, yeah, fun.
We have
Just
to
take the chance.
Oh, speaking of which, Lee, surprise attack! Huh! And I'm gonna throw the net on him. See if you can escape.
What do I need to do to escape yonder?
So Ormus has to roll to hit Lee. And Ormus, I doubt you're proficient in this. So
Surprise
go
me.
or have anything to aid with it. So if you would please make a dexterity attack at disadvantage.
Oh no.
Well, wait, wouldn't he have advantage?
Why would he have
Surprise attack.
advantage?
You surprised me. Why
If you are
disadvantage?
entirely surprised, then he is not at advantage. He is simply at vantage. He's just normal. So
Let me
if
see
you
what I'm
would please.
proficient with real quick.
Hmm.
Martial weapons. Is it a martial weapon?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a ranged martial weapon. I'll allow that. So you
I am
can
proficient.
add a dexterity plus proficiency. Plus a
Oh,
roll.
my proficiency is 4, and my dexterity is 2, so plus 6.
The disadvantage because he's within 5 feet of me.
Yes.
Okay. I just was trying to figure out why.
Nets are always rolled at disadvantage.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're one of the tricky things. But it's one of those things where the first time trying it out, since I doubt Ormus has ever cast a net before, I'm going to keep the disadvantage, but it's something that I'll allow to get a little bit more flexible as one becomes familiar with it. Plus, he's
So
not attuned to it.
Do I... Wait, are the other ones attunement too?
Nope.
Interesting, okay. So drop the highest, DH, right? Is that how disadvantage goes on the
With
game
the
rules?
disadvantage, you would drop the highest, but you don't have disadvantage because
cool, okay.
Lee is completely surprised. The advantage and disadvantage cancel each other out. It's just a
Shoot.
straight roll.
12. You're like, oh.
That's 12 versus your AC, Lee.
I'm wearing a breastplate, right? Yeah, I'm wearing the breastplate. So yeah, that does not. Yeah, unless if I took off my armor, that does not hit.
Okay.
I'll miss, look at it on the ground, go over, pick it up, and just look at Lee and slowly, drape it over him. Got you! Oh no!
What's going on?
I'm trying to test if it works. I want to see it. Can you get out?
You got a net kind of hanging over, draped over you.
I'm gonna pull it off, I guess.
Okay, you pull it off.
I'm
I
gonna
think we've
fold it
bamboozled.
up and hand it back to Ormus, and I'll just say, Ormus, come on,
I wanted to see if it worked.
we'll test it. We'll test it.
I hope. That kind of makes me feel worried now. I don't know if we've been bamboozled.
I don't know. We'll find out.
You could try it again on something, but in terms of casting nets, like I don't know if you've ever used a net for fishing before, like a fishing net. Essentially,
I don't think
you hurl out this large net, basically, but there's a string on it that you're going to be able to use to cinch, and so you would be able to pull this to tighten the net to close it. And if you don't close it properly, then I mean, obviously, you don't catch anything in a net. At that point, you're just throwing lacy fabric on stuff.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of like what I was doing. Like Orm has never used it before. It's a net. I just throw it over him.
And then
Oh,
it just did
didn't
nothing.
work.
It was just fabric over him. Like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Kind of fucks me up that nets are always at disadvantage.
Yeah, they're vicious.
I get why, because their range is what, 5 feet to 15 feet.
Yeah,
So they're ranged weapons, so you can only throw them at 5 feet, so they're at disadvantage then, or if they're beyond that, it's still disadvantage. But that's fucked.
but feats that give you, like sharpshooter, you don't take disadvantage at range for ranged weapons. You know, so there's ways to cancel that out. Plus, I mean, this is a special weapon. I'll allow little changes, but I do keep some of the negatives of a net because, I mean, come on, this thing's stupid broken anyway.
Yeah.
I've actually used nets in my own like stuff, but I've
Mm,
never rolled them at disadvantage.
yeah, they're fun.
I just didn't know that, but yeah, that makes sense.
Nets are
Anyway,
strange.
It just makes me think that either you've been bamboozled or I need to seriously practice with this thing.
yeah, because it did nothing to Lee.
Aldrin can teach you how to throw a net. Aldrin, do you know how to throw a net?
I'm not a gladiator. I don't know how nuts work.
That's fair.
You've probably
okay,
had some
I'll
basic
practice.
training on them at some point, Alatrin.
Yeah.
In fact, oh no, I'm just trying to think. It's like, who might know? Jacob might know. But
Yeah.
Oh,
Give it
I
a
just got an
kick.
idea. I could get a training montage by some of the fishermen over at the island, maybe.
So there's not very many.
there's not really many fishermen there. You'd have to go to a different island.
I never said which island.
Fair. So you want to go find random people
I'll
to give
find
this
somebody.
legendary elemental item to, or legendary special item? Oh,
Just
okay,
show
darn.
me.
Oh,
Sure.
But I mean, Jacob offers. He'll show you. He
Oh.
knows how to use it.
Hell yeah. Me and you are gonna be buddies. Thank you.
And he says, so any volunteers?
Sure. Let me take off my armor
I
first.
was thinking maybe for later. But we can do it now. Fuck it.
I'll take off my armor and just kind of stand there.
Okay.
So fucking rocky.
Jacob will cinch up the net, and he says, so the trick is to hold it like this, but you want to wrap the string around your wrist first so that you don't throw the whole thing. Because if you throw this, and you can't get it back, okay?
Oh, okay.
All right.
Alright, so
And he's
so
got
that-
it kind of cinched up, and he says, no, it's all about kind of the twist. And so he flings the net out, releases it, still hanging on to the sort of control line. And God damn it, rolled a natural one. And just misses Lee completely. And he goes, hang on, I can do better. And he cinches it up again. And he does barely a little bit better. And he's like, look, I got this. Hang on, I can really do it this time.
Lee's
Lee-
like, this is not
you-
a toy.
Huh?
Lee says to Jacob, Jacob, this is not a toy. Come on.
He says, no, I got this.
Well,
It's-
you know how to use that.
I mean, come on, I'm doing better than he did.
Hey, yeah, he's got a point. Give him a chance.
Isn't Jacob also a spellcaster?
No, Jacob is a monk.
Oh,
Lee, what is your AC currently?
10, and I'm not moving, so I assume that gives him advantage.
Which is canceling the disadvantage, yes. On the third try, he gets the net to land around Lee, and he quickly cinches it up and Lee, you feel yourself swept off of your feet, and you are now stuck in this net. And Jacob goes, "Ha ha! Yeah, see, just
I clap.
took a little bit of getting used to it."
Lee tries to escape.
Okay.
I'm
Go
really
ahead.
testing this out.
How would you like to try and escape? You want to try and like break through the thin cord?
I was thinking maybe I could use a strength check.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, you can try to break through the cord. Yeah, you can use a strength check.
Let me go ahead and do that. That's a 15.
Okay. With a 15, you grab onto the thin, narrow, various slits of the netting, and you begin to pull it apart. And as you hear the kind of a strain and then snapping of the various threads, when they snap apart, you can see that they just sling around in the gaps between your two hands, and they just form more net where your hands had gone through, much in the way of like trying to brush off a pool of water. It just fills right in, and it looks to be about as dense as you try to break through it. It just regrows behind it.
Oh no. All right. I think I get the magic now. Can you guys let me out? I don't think I can get out on my own.
So no helper can help. It's the creator, right? I'm gonna try and open it from the opening. Try and pull
Okay.
it open.
Go ahead and make a strength check.
Oh, that is where I'm terrible. Actually not so bad. /R. Did I push this? Fucking phone. Sorry, it takes me a while.
Probably shouldn't be typing that out while driving, but okay.
Sorry. Oh, there it is. That one.
As much as you pull, you cannot get it open. It just seems really tight. Granted, you're very weak. In fact, you get a paper cut somehow.
Strains onto his fingers a little bit too much.
Yeah. Oh, it hurts.
He just flops on the deck like a
Well, it
fish.
looks like we weren't bamboozled.
Would anyone
that
else
really
like to try
hurt.
and get Lee out?
I'll try it, sure.
Okay. How would you like to
Oh,
try and get Lee
shit.
out?
I'm gonna do the same thing Ormus was doing. I'll just grab the opening and try and force it open.
Okay. Go ahead and make a strength check. And Lee, once you've kind of settled in there, you can like stand up in this.
I can't walk, right? Can I?
As you try to walk, you find that you're unable to. As you try to walk, it's like you're trying to walk on the bag itself, and it just kind of doesn't get you anywhere.
I'm not prone.
Yeah, you can stand up though, but if you try to walk around and move, it's almost like you're it's almost like you're trying to walk on ice. For whatever reason, as you're trying to walk, you're just slipping on the net. You don't fall, but you don't really get anywhere. You're just contained. It's like you're trying to walk on, but you're trying to go in a gerbil ball on ice. You just don't get anywhere.
I'm pretty surprised I was even able to stand up because I'm restrained, so I don't have a speed. So I guess half of 0 is still 0, so I could probably still stand up.
And in essence, I mean, well, mechanically it doesn't matter whether you're standing or not in a sense.
Okay.
But yeah, if you want, fine. You're balled up and you can't stand. Meh.
All right, sure.
Is it strength or just athletics? Either one's
Strength.
fine.
Yeah,
So
there's
that
no
would be a
not really
14.
athleticism. With a 14, you also going over into the entrance of the net and have basically the same experience as you rip it. The strings rip apart. You're continuing to hold the same strands that you had before, but it's like more strands are forming in the wake. Every little bit that breaks just grows 3 or 4 more strands.
Oh god, it's alive. It's like a hydra.
Guys, we're gonna be able to get
That's
me out of
cool.
this, right?
I think.
Jacob, let him out, please. I think we got the point. I just need the practice.
Jacob releases the control string.
Okay, I'll try. So, I'm gonna look at like Jacob, like, and I open it, and I go to open it.
Jacob shrugs, and it opens effortlessly.
Oh, thank God! I thought I was gonna be trapped in there.
Oh, that's so cool.
That is
That's
very.
I call not it for testing the net again.
that's a little bit terrifying, but
Yeah.
yeah.
That was pretty scary.
So are we just gonna try? No, that's a future plan. We'll plan that out later.
Yeah.
For now, I'm just gonna practice with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, get good.
I'll try.
But hopefully you can see that there could be a tremendous advantage if you do land it properly and cinch it on a creature. As difficult as it might be to cinch it on someone, because you have to be very close, the potential, it seems that if it's possible to escape, it seems beyond what you're doing. Like it likely is very difficult or possibly even impossible to escape this net once somebody is held. You could see how that could be tremendously powerful.
Now, with a net, is it based off of full AC or just like touch AC? I mean, I guess this is 5e, so there's no touch AC, but like, does that make any sense? I don't know.
It's kind of difficult because it is one of those things. Like, how would armor help it? You know, but I mean, that's for now. We're just gonna have to. I mean, we'll just see. Like, I don't know. Like, there's, you know how, or rather, the spear can circumvent physical armor and various other things, but this, I don't know. I mean, you can put armor on, see if it makes a difference. We can make argument about it, but we don't know.
That's fair. I'm not worried about pursuing it today. What was the decision on dealing with the elemental? What were we gonna do?
Come to a conclusion. But I think Molly
I'm
tell her basically, let's keep in touch. I'll try to negotiate with you another time because she sees she isn't going anywhere. Also because I kind of got to go now.
Understood.
Oh.
Okay.
I'm still determined to get this thing out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Molly Ward is too, but she sees that they're not getting anywhere with negotiations right now.
Well, we can figure out next week if you all want to take on the covert freeing and of a elemental. You know.
No.
Well, my idea was less so trying to, free it from under her, and more so go to our, resources, try to find, maybe go to the City of Nerds and have them find an alternative to offer her.
Well, that's something that we can address next week.
Yep, so.
Is everyone able to make it?
Yeah.
I'll be
I
able
should
to.
be able to.
Yeah, it should be able to.
All right.